everyone. Welcome to the Felicity Optimist versus Cynic podcast with us, your hosts, Melissa and Fish. This is a Felicity rewatch podcast. We'll watch an episode each week and join you here to talk about it. And a reminder, the one we always give is not a spoiler-free podcast, so you could hear some things that we talk about in this episode that happen in future episodes of the show Felicity, because it's not spoiler-free. That's how it works. All right. So I am Melissa, and I'm here with my effervescent co-host, Fish. Fish.
Oh, very nice.
How are you doing today?
I'm good today. It's been a good end to the week, and it's nice outside, and we got a little break from the rain. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
All right, well, we're fired up and ready to go here. We're going to talk about season 3, episode 13, Blackout. This one originally aired April 25th, 2001. It was directed by Barnett Kellman and written by Josh Rhimes. And here's the description. A power outage interrupts Sean's presentation of a film he planned to share with his friends, and Noel tells Felicity that a Seattle internet company is interested in meeting with him about their loser pet store program. Meanwhile, Meghan is visited by a gal pal with whom she once had an intimate encounter. Fish.
No mention of Ben or Avery.
No, none of that. You know, so I normally throw straight to you first, but I actually want to just say that this is a real episode of hits and misses for me. Like, I am very split between the things that I am just not happy about the delivery and things that I loved. So I actually, we'll get to some of the things that I'm not into as we go through. But I actually wanted to open with my note from an optimist. Ooh. Because I think that it will help. It's something that I want to touch on as we go through. And so I think it'll just help set the stage for it. Note from an optimist. The camera work and choreography of this episode was so different from what they normally try to do, and so interesting and thought out and executed. I thought it was executed well. This is really about putting the interplay between all the characters on display. And in order to do that, you have to keep they not only kept the camera moving, but they kept the people moving, and they must have had it very plotted out how they were going to make that happen. And for me, this episode comes off in a totally different way because they approached it with that, like, the camera just keeps following people moving through the party. It almost reminds me of when there was the game night in the episode, where I wonder if we went back to that, if we'd find it was the same director. But this whole episode was done that way. And that takes a lot of work to execute it, both from the cast and the crew. And I thought it was really interesting. So it'll probably make this episode hard to track in terms of our notes. But I liked the spirit of the thing. I liked that they did it. I thought they did it well. And I think it'll give us another angle to talk about this episode.
Okay. I mean, I definitely see the connection to the game night and how they went from sort of conversation to conversation. You're right. It absolutely wreaked havoc with my notes. So that was a little frustrating.
Yeah.
I just want to add in, I think they also did a really nice job with the sound. I like the fact that it was raining, and those moments where you could hear the thunder, or you saw the lightning before the blackout, you heard the rain sort of coming down and saw it through a window. And I found tracking the storm throughout to be very interesting too. It kind of gave you little moments of this is ominous, as they were going through kind of all the different plot lines. So I really enjoyed that. but I would say it did get a little much with for me going from like small conversation to small conversation to small conversation between all the different people.
Well, it's tough when you're watching it the way we're trying to watch it and to take
Yeah,
notes on it. I think
I
it,
think
as I
that's
was
true.
watching it, I thought Fish is going to be complaining about this the entire
Yep.
time that she has to track her notes. But I think if you're not watching it in that way and you're just sort of absorbing it, I do think that it creates a very different vibe. And I think it shows you in a more subtle way how much interplay the different characters have with each other. It really takes you from relationship to relationship. I was just looking back through some of our like episode ratings just to see if I could match directors to scenes here. So actually the director who did the game night is none other than Lawrence Trilling.
Unsurprising.
But Barnett Kellman has come up for us before, and Barnett Kellman did the episode, the morning after pill episode with the flying beer cans, or the specifically one flying beer can. And that I was commenting a lot about how interesting some of those camera shots were. So this makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Barnett Kellman also appears as the director on episode 2 from season 2, which is where we had high voltage looks for my rating management. So it was the list.
Yes.
That
was a good one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm seeing necessarily the overlap with that one, but I think it's interesting. I mean, the shot of Carrie in the red dress is certainly iconic. Yeah, I am seeing a link with what would that be called? Like the Revolution episode or whatever that was. So, okay. Well, there we have it. But look, it feels like this one has to go in order when we talk about it.
I don't think there's any other way to do it.
Yeah. So we're going to open up. We're at the loft. And it's Felicity and Noel is where we start, but we'll also see that Sean's in the background eventually on this scene. So Noel is reading a negative review for Loser Pet Store, and he's just actually kind of excited about it. Like, it's an interesting sort of like, oh, he is reading things that don't sound great, but he seems so happy about it.
Well, I mean, his point is people are watching it and they have opinions about it. And we have all these downloads. So, it's going pretty well.
He says they have 400,000 hits on episode 4. That's crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah.
Especially for that time.
Yeah. Loser Pet Store is doing pretty well. Okay.
I mean, I would watch Loser Pet Store. It sounds fantastic.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why has this not been done?
I wonder if anybody has tried to do it.
I feel like we're going to need some research here. So if anybody knows whether this has actually been done, let us know.
Perhaps by some Felicity fan out there.
Yeah.
I don't
know. We'll watch it.
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness this is what hit, not Farm Boy animation, right? Am I right?
Yes. Farm Boy animation minus the farm and the boy.
Yeah. Yeah. And
otherwise known as animation.
Yeah, just animation. So this is one of those episodes where people are just going to continue to thwart each other with breaking news at the wrong time.
Well, I mean, let's admit, Sean is in most of this episode, and Sean is very good at that.
I'm going to say Noel's a major culprit too in this episode, but this time it's happening against him. Where Sean mentions this Seattle internet company. He mentions a job, and Felicity's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And now Noel is in sort of defensive mode. He's like, it's a Seattle company. They just want to meet me. And she's like, oh, they want to talk to us. He's like, no, just me.
No crane.com. It was a big hit.
Yeah.
And, but like, really, are either of us going to move to Seattle? I mean, I love that line from him.
Yeah.
For many reasons. One, like, he's just basically planting his flag in the ground. Like, we're going to be in the same city, right? Yeah. Which we'll see him waffle on, but that was a statement. Also, I know you've had some wonderful experiences living in Seattle for many years.
Hmm.
Would you move back?
Well, it was a hard city for me. It was a
Hmm.
hard city to be in. I would say, though, well, it's a very different story, I think, when like, um, as somebody who was going in for an industry that wasn't tech,
Hmm.
it was extremely difficult to get my foot in any door, especially professionally, with the experience that I had outside of Seattle. I think in the tech world, it's a bit different. I don't know how it would have been at that time. Like, I find now that the people, like companies like Microsoft and Google and Amazon and whatever, if they have offices there, they're Boeing, they're recruiting people from outside of the city, and that is a known thing that they do, and that's fine. But outside of that industry, it doesn't really happen, and it becomes this question of like, who do you know in Seattle, and what have you done in Seattle? It's like, well, we just got here, we just moved. For everybody who's relocating, right? So, but I do think like this is early days of that, and I wonder because Seattle around this time, it was still very much like grunge aftermath,
Yeah.
like it was. I think a lot of people who are from Seattle, they look at it like it's this hidden nugget gem sort of place where there's this really cool vibe and this grunge scene, and it's this special, we must protect it all at all costs sort of thing. Seattle's moved really far away from that now, and it's becoming a bigger city, and probably should take some steps to acknowledge that it's becoming a bigger city from an infrastructure standpoint. And I think there are people who desperately want to protect that history and that culture, that vibe. And the growth of the city seems to be the opposite of that. So, with a Seattle internet company at that time, you would have all of that stuff starting to collide.
That
And
is true. But we do also have the burning question that I'm
mm,
sure all of our listeners want to know from someone who, grew up in New York and has also lived in Seattle.
mhm.
Where does it rain more?
I always find that such a weird thing because people talk so much about how much it rains in Seattle, and I actually don't know that it rains more.
Hmm.
And in the Northeast, you're also going to get snow and nor'easters and hail and freeze. Like, when it's still just raining in Seattle, you're getting blizzards.
Hmm.
So like I don't know that the Northeast really can talk about that and have any sort of a footing with it, because it's still gray for, months and months and months of the year in, let's say, New York. But it's just that it's not always just rain. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's harder stuff. So I don't know.
All right. So we got a cold take from Melissa right there. May
I
not
mean,
rain as much, but it still sucks if you don't like winter
really,
in the north.
that really does boil it down very well for me. I think if you're looking for not weather like that, move south in the US. That's where you'll get that
Yeah.
experience. Go to California, go to Florida, go to Arizona, go to what I mean, Texas has like, there are certain parts of the country that have like violent weather,
Yes.
even in the summer. But like, there are places you can go where you are much more likely to see a moderate winter.
Hmm.
And they're not usually north
No. Good call.
in the US anyway. So that's my PSA to you. The other thing that's happening in this conversation between Felicity and Noel is that Noel makes casual mention of Avery,
Hmm.
and Felicity is just grossed out every time
Really
Avery's name comes up.
disgusted. First time I
She's
think I've seen her stick her tongue out.
Yeah, she's just like, ugh, really
Yeah.
though?
Ew.
And then
Still
she's
hanging
like,
out with Avery?
yeah, and Sean's like, sure is.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
we get the show calling out what we observed, and Felicity is like, you just like her because she looks like Ruby. Ooh, whoa.
Well,
Them's fighting
didn't you
words.
say that last episode, though?
We said that.
I think you said that. I thought she looked more like Maggie.
Well, yeah,
But
I said that you thought she looked, but the show hadn't acknowledged it. The show addresses it head
ah,
on
right here.
Right here. And Noel's going to deny it, even though, come on, Noel. Come on, Noel. It's true.
I mean, they're both blonde. All three of them are blonde. I don't know. I don't see it.
Okay. Okay. Listeners, who does Avery look like? Okay. So that was a easy tee up question there. One word answer sort of thing, but well, I'm sure we'll throw more your way here in this episode. So Meghan's going to enter the scene, and this sort of puts the focus more on Meghan and Sean now, where Meghan's like kind of milling about. She's like, oh, I have to shop for Kris. I have to get, she's like prepping and getting things ready. And Felicity, like, Kris? So we're already getting this sense that this is not a casual, random person to bring around. Felicity has heard something about Kris in the past and thinks it's noteworthy.
And she's coming out to see the documentary, or so Meghan claims.
Sean wants to show her the documentary. We find out that Kris is a filmmaker. She had a short that played at Sundance Film Festival. I don't necessarily think that that's why Kris is coming out, but that's what's going to happen to her.
See, I got the feeling that like Meghan had invited her. Do you think Kris invited herself?
Based on the way this episode goes, this feels like something Kris needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt like she had a different agenda than seeing the documentary, but I still thought Meghan had invited her. And maybe that was just what I thought in my head since Meghan mentioned her.
I don't know. I don't know that they say that explicitly. I think you and I had slightly different angles of interpreting it, but I don't know if it maybe it does make a difference. I don't know. I mean, in my view of it, Kris is like freaking out about getting married and wants to rekindle, see if she can have another pass at an old flame, or like rekindle something. And that feels to me like what would have happened is Kris would have reached out and said something like, oh, I'll be in the area, or I'm thinking about coming out. And Meghan might have been like, oh yeah, you should come over. It feels more natural that would have been initiated by Kris, especially with Meghan being in a relationship. But I don't know. I think we'll see how it evolves with them here, but we're going to head to a scene with Avery and Ben at Epstein Bar.
Yeah, and Ben's sitting there. He's trying to study. And who comes by? Avery. She comes by, she sits down, and we find out that she has been plumbing the depths of Noel for information about Ben.
Yeah, which Noel has been giving. And so we find out like Ben is struggling in a class, and Avery is going to be the hero in this situation. She's like, I know a guy who can get you last year's test, maybe the one before that. I will help you cheat.
Yeah, basically. I mean, but Ben here, right off the bat, I mean, he's talking about his parents and their expectations. I mean, he's sharing quite a lot with her. I mean, we haven't seen they've known each other a couple of weeks now. It seemed like she didn't come around for like those 3 months. She was doing rehab and stuff like that. So for him to be already opening up about that kind of stuff, I mean, it took him a while to be talking to Felicity about it. And he's already opening up, and, he's asking her things like, oh, did you cheat? And she's like, yep. And let me just slip my digits to you. Very, very smooth, Avery. Very smooth.
Yeah, I think that's well observed that he's sharing a lot with her. And again, I guess all we really know from him is that he feels a connection. What connection does he feel? I don't know, but it's undeniable that he's been that he feels a connection and that he's been in some way tuned to Avery's frequency.
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes from a
Absolutely.
different place than the way that she's tuned to his, she's so aggressive,
Yeah.
and so conniving.
Yeah.
And I don't see that from him, but I don't think
No,
he knows what this is either.
I don't see him being aggressive and conniving, but he is slipping into one of my pet peeves with guys, which is like, oh, like it just happened. Like I didn't do anything. Things are just happening around me. It's like I didn't have any control over it. And it's like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like he's slipping into that territory with her
Yeah.
and not taking responsibility for that. I it's just a pet peeve of mine. I'm like, things
Yeah.
don't just happen to you. You do have agency in your own life.
It's very true. It's very
Yeah.
true. I think so. Ben makes a point that I think I want to do this on my own. I don't
Yeah.
think I want the paper. And then Avery's like, well, just in case, let me give you my number. I like this little touch that we see from Scott Speedman here, because we're going to see him take that was it a business card or was it just a piece of
It
paper
looked
that she
like
wrote
it,
on?
right? But I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, she had written her number on a piece of paper that seemed like not a napkin,
Yeah.
and somewhat flippable. And so we see Scott Speedman, we see Ben flipping the number in his hands. And it reminded me of when he was doing that with the hotel key that Maggie gave to him.
Oh, interesting.
We saw that shot. They made a point to make that shot. He's lying in bed on his back and he's looking at this card. He's flipping it in his hands and he's doing his best thinking. And then he ends up going to Maggie's hotel room.
Well, the other thing that puts a nice fine point on it is right after that, we get the thunder, the ominous thunder.
A thunder crash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crash of thunder, thunder crash.
Lightning crash is an old Mother Day. That makes no sense, actually, right? That
Lightning
song,
crash?
Lightning
What?
Crashes, from whatever that band was.
I don't remember it, but
Lightning crashes, an old Mother Day. You never heard that song?
yes,
Yeah.
that's grunge. That is Pearl Jam, right?
No, it's not Pearl Jam. It's give me one moment. Please stand by. It is Alive.
I mean, I remember the song, but I'm not good at bands and I'm not good at like remembering stuff, as
well, and
we
also
have clearly
Live.
seen.
Well, I like them very much. Lightning doesn't crash, right? Am I right?
I think you're right.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Glad we sorted that out. Okay, so the thunder crashes here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to head to the girls' apartment where Felicity and Meghan are prepping for movie night, film night.
Yeah, I mean, this film night, right? I mean, it's not like it's not like a scheduled thing, but yeah, we're gonna watch Docuventary along with Kris. But what I like here is, so we just heard the thunder, right? And then you go to the intro music that, of course, I skipped. But they have all these great windows, and you're looking out kind of from the kitchen at the windows, and the lightning flashes all across the windows.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoyed that as kind of almost like an opening shot here. It's like clearly something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Blackout. There's now been thunder, and now there's lightning.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice.
Yeah. So there's snacks being put together. Sean's freaking out. He's just milling about the place, just having a panic attack of some sort. And then we're gonna get a moment with Ben and Noel, because Ben now knows that Noel was sharing information about him to Avery, and so Ben is going to pointedly ask that Noel not do that anymore.
Well, not all information. He's very specific. He says, stop telling Avery about my grades, right? He doesn't say, don't talk to Avery about me. It's like this thing that he's kind of embarrassed about, right? That's what he tells Noel not to talk about.
Okay.
And I thought it was very pointed that he wasn't just blanket statement. Don't talk to Avery about me. Don't tell her personal things about me. It was like, no, don't tell her bad things about me.
Yeah. I think honestly, between this episode and the Let's Get It On episode, the Christmas episode, if you will, where
God.
Felicity's mother was in town, if I were Ben, I'd be like fed up with Noel. Fed up to the max with Noel. We're gonna get a
He is
lot
around
of
a lot.
well, and it's not just him being around a lot. Like Noel has become a master of sharing slightly shady information about people, specifically Ben, in a way that feels like, oh, but all I said was this. It's like true, and that felt pointed, and that felt like an angle. Like it's becoming harder for me to say that it's not intentional from Noel because he's doing
I
it
still don't think it's
much.
intentional. I don't think the thing he did at dinner in that episode was intentional.
The problem is it's now coupled with an episode like this where he's doing this stuff so much. And we'll get to examples of it, I guess. It hasn't happened yet in this episode, but
Yeah.
it's had it just been that, maybe I would say that, and maybe I was feeling that way, but like, oh my God, after this episode, it's like, come on, Noel, this is he's just like trying to thwart Ben at every turn with some of the stuff that he's saying here. And Ben, I don't know.
I don't know. I actually think he did some very good things for Ben. And so we'll just have to go through that.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. So I have a note here and I don't know what it means. Richard, Meghan, finger foods.
Well, that's very interesting because the notes I have are Meghan says Kris is a friend.
Okay.
And then next to Richard, I just have horny.
Yeah. Okay. Listeners, you put this picture together. Gosh. So
Yeah.
all of these things probably happened. There were probably finger foods involved somewhere that maybe we were looking at. And then he was talking about Kris. They were talking about Kris, and Richard was sounding like he really wanted to meet Kris.
Yeah. He was sitting there and he was like, I'm here for the girls. And I don't just mean like you lot that are always around. I want new girls.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. It's not just gonna be the same old core group, right?
Yeah. And he's asking about Kris. He's like, is she cute? All that kind of stuff. And let's just say, Richard, you're not her type.
Yeah. Pretty much I think all of the scenes in the ladies' apartment is where we start to see this, the moving camera is following moving people. So I think every scene we're getting in their apartment is like this. And it's not necessarily that way for scenes outside of that apartment. Yeah. But just this movement of everybody being in one space. And so we're going to see a little bit more breakdown of this Kris person, and Richard and Meghan and Sean are hashing it out, how, Kris is an old friend. Sean has a slight wrong understanding of the connection. Like, you were friends with her brother, and she's like, I was friends with her sister. And so we can see that Sean has maybe heard just a little bit about this person, not enough to perk his ears up.
Yeah, and let's admit, Sean is pretty tunnel vision for most of this episode.
Yes.
Really focused on the documentary, and then he will be really focused on something else.
It's very true. Yeah. In the middle of this who is Kris conversation, Kris is going to show up. And she walks into the apartment, and we do find out that she's engaged almost immediately.
Because Richard wants to hit on her.
Yeah, Richard still kind of likes her anyway, though, to be honest. Seems like he's only slightly thwarted.
She's engaged now. Give me a couple hours, Yeah,
really. And we're going to get some intros where Sean just keeps insisting on that he's a filmmaker. You're here to watch the film. You're going to watch this film, right? Yeah. Movie!
And he fanboys out a little bit about Sundance. And Felicity is sitting there wanting to know about young Meghan, and I'm a little upset we didn't get to hear more. I mean,
I know.
Like, oh, you knew Meghan pre-goth. How is nobody grilling Kris?
Yeah, Noel asks about that. He's like, "Oh, you knew Meghan pre-goth," and Kris says, "I knew Meghan pre a lot of things."
Dun
Oh,
dun dun.
yeah. That doesn't register for anybody. Um,
No, not yet.
so yeah, we'll get into it. Felicity is going to pull Noel aside for a moment and ask him to talk to Elena because she is somewhere in the apartment, but she is not coming out because she is depressed. She is depressed about Tracy.
Yeah. And Noel lived with her. So she's not listening to Felicity. Maybe Noel can do something about it. And I kind of love what Noel did here. He says, "Yeah, sure." And then Felicity walks on and he just turns around and walks away,
Yeah,
completely
he
forgetting about it.
instantly forgets that that conversation ever happened and that that ask was made of him. Felicity then moves on. The camera keeps following Felicity as she goes to Ben, who is studying. He's got flashcards. Ben's working with a lot of paper in this episode.
A lot of paper. Yep.
Got good paperwork.
Mhm.
So he's studying and she's inviting him to go to, like, she says Chavez at the movie theater. She's got a thing that she wants to be able to do, but he's studying. He doesn't feel like he can do that. And he just lets her know that he's too busy and she should go anyway, but she won't. She wants to be there with him. So she sort of recommits to supporting him. And,
Yeah,
you
she's
know,
really comforting. She's very helpful. And I think in this episode in particular, they're just drawing this incredibly stark line
mm-hmm,
between here is Felicity and what she brings to Ben,
mm-hmm,
and here is Avery and what she brings to Ben. It's
mm-hmm.
not so much about what Ben brings to either one of the girls, but that's not the story they're telling right now.
Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting because they are painting a picture that both of the women want to support him, and what that support looks like is wildly different.
yes.
So I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think Felicity is both emotional and let's be a team and be in this together sort of thing.
Well, I think Avery could be like that too. I really feel like there is a scene coming up that
Mm-hmm.
underlines, I think, the big difference between them. So I'm gonna
Ooh.
wait until we get there.
Okay. Okay.
But I mean,
Well,
Avery's there.
she
She
sure
is
is. We're about to
at the
see her.
apartment. I'm like, she's part of the group now? Like, where did that come from? Oh, no. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
through Noel. So Richard is now talking to Avery because if he can't talk to Kris, he might as well talk to his buddy's girl.
I mean, there's only one other newish woman around.
I know it's not just the same core group that's been all these years. So
Yeah.
he's talking himself up. He's like, I'm the creative behind this documentary. Okay. Okay, Richard.
And Felicity is so cold. I mean, there's like just waves of like ice, wind, and gusts just like blowing in Avery's direction from her.
Yeah, if Felicity walks by as if Avery's not even in the room, Avery's
Yeah.
like, "Hi, Felicity." Was like, "Oh, hey."
Yeah, you.
It's so awkward. Um, so now we're going to get a bunch of Noel shade against
Yeah.
Ben. Noel's, Felicity's coming out of Ben's room. Noel's like, "How's Ben? Is he stressed? Is he being a dick, like he likes to say?" Like, Noel, quiet you. Like I
Well, I mean, yeah, he says that, but what I focused on was as soon as Ben's name is mentioned, Avery perks up.
Yeah.
And we see that shot where she just, like, the name Ben is dropped, and all of a sudden, she kind of comes alive.
Yeah.
And Noel may say, is Ben just being a dick? But on the one hand, like the girl he's at least slept with and is now inviting over is clearly interested in Ben, and also Ben has Felicity.
Mm-hmm.
So is he maybe slightly justified in being a little off put? Maybe, but I don't know. I didn't think it was
I
that
don't know if
bad.
he's really registering any of this with Avery, to be honest, until the end of the episode. I mean, I think he maybe in
Oh, I don't
denial
know.
about like what that relationship between Avery and Ben might be, or Avery to Ben.
Yeah,
um, it's
I
hard to
I
say.
think he feels it, but I think that's
Maybe,
why he's saying some of this stuff. I
yeah.
mean, she's got to be in the moments when they are together alone. She's
Mhm.
just asking about Ben all the time.
Maybe
So he's
it's
got to know something's up. She's like, "Oh, how's Ben doing? Like, how are his
well,
grades? How is,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. It could be. I mean, so maybe we're saying
she
Noel's a
doesn't
dick that
hide
has
it well."
reason to be in this episode. That I still am not on board with Noel here, but that's
Right.
okay. I don't have to be.
Who else are you not on board with?
Well, I there are some stories that I'm not on board with here in this episode.
But I was thinking specifically in the next scene. Were you cool with that weirdness?
Well, so before like just finishing up this scene, so Felicity confirms that he's just worried about the test and that feels like something Avery can have a conversation with Ben about. So we're going to see her get up to go to talk to Ben. We don't see the conversation yet, but we know that that's about to happen. And then they do cut to one of the storylines that I just strike this from the record, folks. Please strike this from the record. I can't.
It's
Um,
such a weird vibe.
it's such a
It's
weird
so
vibe.
weird.
There is no part of this that isn't weird, including the like sort of full Houseian like music hug resolution at the end. It's like, why did we need any of this? Um,
And it's such a small scene to create so much weirdness.
so we're gonna see Noel finally catch up with Elena because Felicity had to remind the guy again to do
Mhm.
so. And so now they're having this conversation. Noel's gone to Elena, and Elena's confused about Tracy. She's like, is it me? What is it about me?
Maybe
Noel,
it's the fact you cheated on him
I
and don't
think if
care about his religion.
I think if Elena
And
really thought about it, she might come upon a couple of these major factors. But
yeah,
she's feeling sorry for herself, and
yeah.
she's depressed. And Noel just is like, maybe it's your boobs. And you know what, Noel? He meant it as a joke, and it's not a joke, man.
No. Yeah,
Not
I
now,
just
not
wrote,
in the
"Oh, no.
2001. Like, come on, man.
No." And this is the storyline that I had a real problem with because Elena's like, "Oh yeah, and she like really internalizes this.
She has to fixate on something, right? Like, maybe this will explain. Maybe it's not the whole religion thing and the whole, we were having problems. Like, no, it's got it. Because at the end of the day, she feels like she already poked a hole in that theory. She thinks that Tracy's having sex with Rose, or, that's the conclusion she's come to. So she's like, that wasn't the issue. So what was it about me that he couldn't love? And Noel offering up this idea is a thing she can latch onto.
I
She's like, you
guess
might be right
so.
about that.
But
You,
it just to me was so stupid. I
yes.
just found this whole plot line to be so stupid and not Elena.
I can't believe that this was Josh Rhimes that was at the helm for this. And I'm just like kind of going back to, you know what? Like, I feel like Josh Rhimes has done better in the past. Um,
Maybe he wasn't responsible for this particular plot. Maybe he was focused on something else.
he wrote the pool break-in episode. He wrote the like Rhinebeck going to the Rhinebeck B&B
Mm.
episode with Greg.
Both good.
Yeah, I
Both
mean,
really
this is
good.
just not
This is not
this is
his
not the
best quality.
quality, yeah, like that we've seen from him in the past. And granted, like a whole writer's room was breaking these stories, and he was just writing like the words of the episode or in charge of it. I don't know. I don't know. I have a bunch of problems with this episode. And this
Yeah.
is one of them.
Yeah.
So all we know now is that Elena is going to be fixated on her chest for the entire episode,
So stupid.
and they're going to take it really seriously.
Yeah.
Is the problem. So All right. Sean is prepping the film for viewing. Because again, that's the only thing he can think about in this episode up until this point. And then Noel's gonna try to go get Avery because it's time to get some people together so they can watch this film. And they're all milling about. But first, Ben's going to approach Avery. Or Avery Ben, I can't remember which way it happened, but he does want Avery to call the guy. He's been trying to study. He doesn't feel like he's making a dent. Those flashcards aren't doing enough. He's not feeling good about it. So he's gonna say, "Yeah, I'll talk to the guy. Let me give me the number. Let's make the call. Let's do it."
And here's where it occurred to me, the sort of, I guess, differences, some of the differences that are underlined between Avery and Felicity. You know, Avery's not going to judge him for calling this guy and cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like, that is something that Felicity will judge him for. Some may call it holding him accountable. But you know, it's she's going to let him take the easy way out. So she doesn't judge him, but she also doesn't believe in him. I mean, the reason that Felicity is so hard on him in some ways is because she believes in him. She thinks he can do it. And we see this play out, you know, throughout the episode. But it was right here where I wrote it down. I was like, you know, this is the difference. Avery, again, to her credit, while not being judgmental, does kind of bring out some of the worst qualities in Ben, whereas Felicity is always pushing him to be his best self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I think if there's a lot of like hate out there for Avery, I think part of it is, you know, just her trying to create this wedge between Ben and Felicity, but also she's not good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the kind of relationship she wants to have with him is just not, it's just not great.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're going to head to a Kris and Meghan scene. First of all, lightning crashes. Storm. Okay. Major storm.
Hear the rain. We see the rain. And before anybody says anything, they're just sitting there. And I wrote down, she is so in love with Meghan.
Yeah. They're sitting in the hallway. They've moved themselves out of the apartment, out of earshot of everybody else. And one thing that I liked about the direction for this episode, well, and probably the writing for this episode, is that all of the scenes in the apartment, in the women's apartment, the camera is moving and following the people, but every time they have a Kris and Meghan scene, they stay still and they have the longest scene, right? Like, so you're constantly moving between all these other people. And then when we get Kris and Meghan, we just get to breathe into these scenes. And I think that was a choice. And I think it had this real impact of like, this is the focus of the party.
Yeah, and I don't think it's just Kris and Meghan. I think it's also, you know, when we see Ben and Avery and Felicity in his apartment away from the party, you know, there's the scenes where it's just like two people, even the like Richard Elena scenes.
But we have a lot of stuff like that. I think that there is this real intentional, like, we're going to stop the motion to focus in on this conversation, which makes the conversations that they do that with really feel like they have more weight.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you up front why I don't like this story.
Okay.
It's because I like this story and it will never get mentioned again.
Yeah, you said that last time, and it was in my head as I was watching this whole thing. And I do agree with you. I think they should have expanded this. But I think my biggest problem with it is this conversation is very dated,
Mhm.
and I almost worry if they had expanded it more, they wouldn't have even the words to talk about it. I mean, they
Well, I mean, we're going to see
already,
from Sean's reaction later
yeah,
that they just didn't know what to do about this and weren't handling it in a very delicate way, even for that time. But I think
and
that,
Meghan
like,
too.
the thing that bothers me is like Mandy Foreman is a strong actress and very capable. And this is the biggest story they ever give her.
Hmm.
The meatiest story they ever give her. Like, in the future, they're going to have her change her look. Like, okay, uh, this is something that she really could have sunk her teeth into. They made it one episode. And for me, because I know that, this lands a little bit like the Javier stuff in a good egg. Because it's like,
Mm.
oh, this could have been really interesting, but they like put up all the stories they wanted to do on a whiteboard and they just smashed a bunch into one episode. And this doesn't feel like one episode to me. This
This
doesn't
could
feel
have been,
like
yeah, this could have been a whole couple of seasons.
this does and it partly doesn't feel that way because I don't think Sean's reaction is a one episode reaction. Like I don't think he just decides whatever and like next week
Yeah.
they fight about peanut butter. Like I just give Mandy Foreman more.
Yeah,
This is it.
the problem with this is I think if this show were done today,
Mm-hmm.
this could be done extremely effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they, I don't think the TV, maybe the writers or the audience at the time had the type of understanding and acceptance that we do today about different types of sexuality. I mean, the word bisexual isn't even brought up,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, is
And they
she?
may
Yeah,
neither,
like
either of them may not be, but the fact that the word isn't even brought up,
yeah.
I think is,
And yet there are
speaks to the fact that they
shows.
don't have a spectrum
Yeah.
for them to then pull on different threads and examine this through different lenses.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are shows even now that like I think about the 100, right? They don't
Mhm.
label people's sexuality. They just see us experience it and think that's enough for you. And I think they do a pretty good job of showing us a lot of different lifestyles and making them feel pretty fluid and they never had to put a label on anything. But this doesn't feel like that. This
No,
doesn't feel like
it's
um
because fluid wasn't really a thing
mhm,
in TV then.
yeah.
It wasn't a thing that people discussed in the mainstream. It just, again, I don't think they had the words. Maybe they had the words for themselves as the writers
Yeah.
or as people with that lived experience, but I don't think the audience would have, understood slash accepted, if they
Yeah.
really had a huge story arc around this.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we find it all over the place, and
Yeah.
it's almost just, oh, great, you're bi, whatever. Like, it's people still talk about, it's very hard for people to understand bisexual, and like, my parents are saying, oh, like you're bisexual, great, you can choose to be with someone of the opposite sex. And it's like, that's not, that's not really what I was talking about. And you've got actors and actresses that come out and I'm trying to remember her name now. She's really famous. The woman who stars in True Blood. Um,
I didn't watch
blonde,
that show. I want to say
uh,
it was like
starts
Evan
with an
Rachel Wood
A.
in it, or no?
No, it starts with an A and she's blonde, Anna something. Anyway, she's married to a guy and she came out as bisexual, and Larry King at the time, I think she was talking to Larry King, said something like, you were bisexual. And she had to correct him and say, well, no, just because this is my current monogamous marital status, like, you're married, you're still straight, right?
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't change anything. I don't think, that discussion was happening around this
Yeah.
time. People wouldn't have had, it could have been it could have been another PSA, I
Yeah.
guess. But to have this be like a multi-season arc, which is what I would have liked to have seen.
It just didn't have the capacity to do that, or they didn't think the audience had the capacity to absorb it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like that they were trying to do this. I don't know. I think that it's a hard watch now.
Yeah.
Some of the ways they talk about it. But what really bothers me about this is knowing, like, I can't watch this now without knowing that this is going nowhere, and they're going to literally drop. They're going to put on a shelf everything we learn about Meghan here as if it never happened.
Well, they
So
do the same thing also with basically like her clubbing and like the fetish ball. And, it's like, okay, that was an episode.
it's so disappointing, because I feel like everything, when they give her things to do, when they give Mandy Foreman things to do, she kills it,
Mhm.
and it's like, in this relationship with Sean, now that they're sort of giving more focus to those characters, most of the focus they're giving are to storylines that are his storylines and she's supporting him. We see, his battle with cancer was at least 2 episodes, right? The we're going to see that has sparked a conversation about his exploring his Jewish religion, and that story will continue, and she again will be supportive. So at what point does Mandy Foreman get like a really good story of her own to sink her teeth into, and then they give her this, and then they're like, but did we? Like, if you missed this episode, if you didn't happen to catch it, it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter. Like, there would be no previously on Felicity where they felt the need to mention it again because there's not going to be anything else done with this. So it's just like, just let her spread her wings and fly. Can we? I don't know. It's just, it feels like there should be parity between Meghan and Sean's stories on the show.
And yet that is not the world that we currently live in. But let me tell you, when we go back in time and have all of this, all the discussions, when we stake out the house that we're not going to mention, that we're going to stake out and pretend that the time has gone, we've gone back in time and we're going to redo everything.
Yes.
Then, yeah, we will fix this too.
Okay.
Everything will be fixed.
That feels good. Thanks for that, Bish. That feels good.
Yeah.
So we have something we can do about this.
Of course.
So what is the scene that just fired us up onto this tangent so much? So Meghan and Kris are in the hallway. And yeah, it does look like Kris is really attached to her. And she's like, I like the goth look. Do you ever, hey, remember that summer, the summer I can't stop thinking about? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever think about
that summer? The one where and Meghan's just like, I'm really happy for you now.
Yeah. And you can see Meghan is so not her normal snippy, like hard edges self. She's very soft in her conversations with Kris. And she's like, do I think about it sometimes? Kris is really, really honing in on this. She's like, there was nobody that I felt closer to for that time. And Meghan's like, but hey, you and Gary, that's great.
Right.
Your fiance, how awesome is that?
And Kris is just going to ignore that. And she's basically going to say, like, we had great sex and then never talked about it. I mean, I'm reading through the the text here, but that seems to be what
That
she's
does,
saying.
yeah, that does seem to be what she's saying. And she's like,
Yeah.
how great was it, right? Am I idealizing it? Wasn't it awesome? She's like, Megan's like, well, it was one night. It was 4 years
4
ago.
years ago, I know she underlines it.
And that's not the first time she's going to say that exact line
Yeah.
in this episode. So that's going to be the drum that she's beating.
I mean, they are having two very different conversations with each other.
Yeah.
It's like Kris is not reading the room.
Yeah. Meghan is definitely trying to gently put the brakes on with this.
Yes.
And Kris is like, oh, I've just got to go a little further. And she goes as far as to say, hey, I'm still in love with you.
Yep. I was in love with you then, and I still am now. Bam! Blackout.
Storm knocks out the power. Lightning crashes, and then all the power goes out.
Yeah, I mean, the power of her love turned off the city grid.
That's it. Oh my God. Okay. So, okay, we're going back to inside the apartment now because everybody's just milling about. Nobody was prepared for this. Everybody's like, what are we going to do?
Felicity was. Are you kidding? She's standing there with a candle already lit.
Yeah.
And a second candle to light from the candle she's already lit. Felicity's like, I'm ready.
I've got this. Yeah. Sean is still.
Show must go on.
Yeah. I'm going to show this film.
I have 8 hours of batteries. Y'all are going to watch this.
Watching it on a laptop. That is what's going to happen here. So.
And then so many candles. And here's the thing. I just love candles. I do. I get it. They're a huge fire hazard. I love them. And so, the whole rest of the show with all the candles, I just love it. I love it.
I like that. Must have been interesting from a camera. Like, I wonder if that's harder to work with.
Oh, I would assume lighting. Yeah.
They probably had a lot to work with here, especially if
all the shadows.
And especially if the shots keep moving so much, because it's not like if you're using handheld cameras and tracking people across scenes and trying to light them with candle light, like in this, it's just a lot.
Yeah, because as soon as you move, all the candles flicker.
Yeah, and that's obviously not how, I'm sure that the candlelight was not how they were lighting these scenes from a camera side. They were probably using something else, but then you have to, all I'm saying is I don't know how they did it, but I'm impressed.
They did it. And you know who's not impressed? Noel. Noel is like, candles, pa. He's going to talk to Avery and say, let's go outside and see the stars.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful.
But then the problem with that is that Ben wouldn't be there. So Avery's like, I want to stay.
Yeah, she's like, that's so sweet. She's already on the phone with someone else. But I'm going to be right here. I mean, she's so dismissive. And it's like that person that you're with at a party and you're trying to have a conversation with them and their eyes are scanning the room for like the other people.
Yeah, like who is better to talk to than you?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't like that, Avery.
And Richard kind of trolls him because Richard picks up on it and he's like, oh yeah, you got her wrapped around her finger. Huh? Awesome.
I did enjoy Richard throughout this episode. He brought just the right amount of Richardness
in most of the scenes anyway. But before we actually had that moment, Meghan actually re-enters the apartment from inside the hallway and she's looking stunned. So we don't know what she responded to Kris. She probably just had a flight reflex and left and walked back into the apartment.
Probably.
And so Felicity clocks that Meghan's walking in. She's like, are you okay? Meghan's like, nope. And then after that, Kris walks in. And we know that Felicity knows something. She probably knows exactly what's happening here. And she's just sort of seeing it all unfold. It feels really like Felicity has a lot of information here, and we, the audience, can sort of get on board with how she's handling this.
Yeah, I mean, we do know. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong about this, but didn't Meghan tell Felicity that she had dated a girl, a woman?
Well, we're going to find out later.
But I mean, like in earlier episodes, I feel like at some point Meghan had said that she had a relationship with a woman at some point.
I don't remember us seeing that, but we know that they had a conversation about Kris specifically while Meghan was drunk. And Felicity says that later in this episode.
Yeah. I thought I had remembered her actually saying it, but I might have just created that in my mind, as I do.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but who knows? Um, so we're going to see Ben and Felicity have a conversation, and Ben is feeling better about the test, so he can sort of be with amongst the living people a little bit more in this episode, and she's supportive
study
of that.
during a blackout.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't use candles as another source of light to study.
Your flashcards could burn, you know, like,
They
who knows?
could.
It's a fire hazard to study. So yeah, so she's happy for him that he's feeling better about the test, and then, oh great, now Sean's ready to show the film. Except he has to gather the people, including Meghan and Kris, because Kris is the person who needs to see this whole thing. I mean,
she's the important one.
Yeah. So you can see that Kris now tracked Meghan into another room. And she's like, respond!
I know. And Meghan is like, avoid.
And Kris is like, hey, remember that question I asked you like a half second ago when you left? Meghan's like, stop it, don't do this. That is my summary of this scene, but it is basically their vibes.
I mean, Kris is pushing it. She's like, you know, if I hadn't left, would that have made a difference? And Meghan's just like, no, I don't know. Like, and Kris just looks at her and says, are you happy with Sean? I mean, she is pretty aggressively pushing this. And Meghan is so uncomfortable. She's like, covers her face and is like, don't do this to me.
Kris, no means no, okay?
Right.
Unfortunately, Sean comes in to rescue Meghan from this situation, not knowing that he's rescuing her from this situation. He's like, let's watch the film.
Yeah, really, he comes to get Kris to watch the documentary.
Which is just as good as anything else. Yeah, it's like, thank goodness for this. All right, so we're going to go to the kitchen now for another awesome scene. Yeah. Noel's fixing a snack. Elena comes in with a fully just stuffed bra, and she's trying to show off her fake chest as much as she possibly can.
Yeah, under Elena here, I just wrote boobs.
Yeah.
And Noel is making an everything sandwich where you take everything from the fridge and you put it in a sandwich. They will thank him for that later. This is something that I do, and I suggest that other people do. I make what I call a garbage salad or garbage soup, which is the same thing. Just take all the stuff from your fridge that's about to go bad and just put it in a soup or a salad. It's fantastic.
I hear you.
On to something here.
All right. And, you know, there you have it. So that's culinary tips from Noel in a blackout. So Elena is trying to get him to notice her enhancement. Noel is very disturbed when he finds out she's just done this. He's like, unenhance yourself. Stop it.
But he is staring directly at her chest. Like, he can't stop.
Yeah. And she's now on a mission to prove that he was right about his theory, even though he says he was joking. And Richard's gonna come in and he's gonna be very taken by Elena without knowing why. And he's like, what is it about you right now?
Yeah. Did you change your hair? Perhaps go up 2 cup sizes?
Yeah, he's thinking she looks good, but he can't really put his finger on why. And, you know, he's basically just proving the point the show is trying to make. Thanks, show. We love it.
I mean, in all fairness, they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
I mean,
there's a reason that Victoria's Secret
so
has made so much money off the Wonder Bra.
Yeah.
There's a reason there are also water bras and chicken cutlets and all kinds of weird boob enhancing things and boob surgery. Like, there's a lot of money made in the chesticle area.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm just saying, look,
Hey, it's
if you want
fair.
to know what's true, follow the money.
Okay, there you have it.
Mhm.
So now we're actually going to start watching this documentary.
Yeah.
And some people have collected to do so.
Hmm.
Sean is talking over it the whole time to Kris, walking her
Hmm.
through every little decision here. I really enjoy the part where he's trying to describe the soundtrack he envisions to this. And he's like, imagine Marvin Gaye meets The Who. And Richard just goes, is that even possible? And I sat there trying to think about what that would sound like. And I actually struggled to come up with it.
I'm not even going to try it while
It's
we're
like
recording.
crazy drums and rock, and then like, let's get it up. Like, I just,
I feel like it could
what is
happen,
that?
but you know, um, yeah.
I would, I would love to hear Marvin Gaye's take on Boris the Spider. If anybody, if how can we get a Marvin Gaye impersonator or somebody to do this?
I can't imagine that somewhere out there, we couldn't find some, I don't know, mashup or, I mean, of course, the first one I go to is like Pinball Wizard,
Right.
or like Bob O'Reilly, and I'm just like, I'm thinking, like, I feel like this could work.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
understand that Boris the Spider is probably not the first song that people think of when they think about The
yeah,
Who, but
that
I
would
want specifically
that
to
one.
hear that song.
Okay. All right,
Um,
listeners, challenge, challenge put out there.
and for those who don't know that song, just listen to it as is and then marvel at the weirdness of it and then tell me how you envision Marvin Gaye approaching that song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
putting his own spin on it. I like it. I also like that in the documentary we start with Leon.
Yeah.
It's like, really? That's what you're going to show her first?
Yeah. I mean, he's been gathering quite a lot of footage, and there was a thought that this was going to be a series, not a film. So I don't know exactly what he's showing her. I mean, he has 8 hours of battery,
It's true.
and I imagine he's got more than 8 hours of footage here. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But as they're watching this, we're going to see Felicity catching Avery checking out Ben.
I love this shot. Avery is just staring at him, and Felicity like kind of turns her head and notices, and Avery just curls up with Noel. And
Yeah.
it is so perfect and sneaky. And like Felicity has had her number from like second one
Yeah.
post getting shot.
And nobody else
Um,
notices this is happening, and Ben certainly
no,
doesn't see it. And Noel
neither
thinks,
does
"Oh,
all.
Avery's curling up into me. This is
Yeah.
awesome, right?" And like Felicity is just like, "This is so shady."
Yeah.
Um, and it's all the men I care about.
Yes. I mean, it's both of them. I
Yeah,
mean, Avery's just playing with both of her boys. And let me tell you,
it's
that's not her
unacceptable.
job. That's
Yeah,
Felicity's job, is to mess with
Felicity's
these
job.
two
All right.
boys' heads.
Yes. That's exactly it. So now, Sean is still talking to Kris, and he's going to say something that is going to fuel Chris's fire, unfortunately, which is
Yeah.
Meghan hasn't stopped talking about you. Oh boy.
She's just a huge fan.
Oh, so Meghan's like, oh no. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to
She's
go
like,
pee.
gotta
She
go
just
pee.
leaves the
Run
room.
away. Run away.
Yeah.
And the look that Kris gives in that moment, they give like a close up of her face, is just like, uh, I mean, she is definitely feeling Meghan.
Yeah. Felicity is going to go after Meghan to have a conversation, and Felicity's just going to come out with it. She's like, so I'm guessing you didn't tell Sean about this.
Mm,
Um, Meghan's like, was I? So I told you about this, huh? Was I really drunk? It's like, yeah, you were really
yeah,
drunk. You told me
absolutely.
everything.
Completely.
And the question becomes, Felicity's saying, is there anything left there with Kris for you? And Meghan's like, I really do have to go pee. So
Yeah.
she flees another room.
Run away
Yeah.
again. Yeah, Meghan just runs away for most of this episode.
Yeah. Which is a
But I
strange thing to
did,
see Meghan doing,
it is. She does not want to think about this because, this is clearly something that meant something to her in the past, but she is in love with Sean.
And she's normally a person who will address things head on. So this obviously is tapping into something else for her.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
here's another little thing I just wrote down about difference between Felicity and Avery as I continue to track them. Avery went in to like check on Ben, and Felicity also went in to check on Ben. The difference is Felicity goes to check in on everyone, or at least tells Noel to go check in on them.
Yeah.
Like, she cares about all the people. Avery's just using everybody to get to what she wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's rough.
And they painted a really clear picture of her. There's going to be I'm very intrigued by her character. I'm going to get more intrigued when we get to the loft with her.
Yeah. I mean, I find it on the one hand interesting and a bit gratifying to be able to see so clearly through her at this point in my life.
Yeah.
And to like pick out the different manipulation tactics and be like, aha, don't try that. But it's equally as frustrating to watch Ben kind of falling for it.
And the reality is that most people do,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
I think,
especially at that age.
Yeah, I think that a lot of us, the older you get, the easier it is to spot these things, probably because you have a reason you spot them now. It's like, oh yeah, that happened to me.
Yeah. It's like Avery will be the reason Ben can spot this in the future.
And I think what's really interesting about Avery, I'll have more to say about her again when we get to the loft, but we just came off of James. And with James, they were like, he's a bad guy. He's so bad. We can't even give you one reason why he's good. We're going to pile on with this guy. And Avery is a lot more complex and is definitely doing some sinister things and being very manipulative, but she's not just one thing. And it's kind of cool to watch her operate in the context of a show, to be like, oh, here's what she's doing.
Yeah, she's definitely more complex, but I do want to hear what you think about her redeeming qualities, because I haven't yet seen those.
Well, I don't know if I would say anything like, I don't know if redeeming is the word, but let's put a pin in that for when we get to a thing about her that I was very fascinated by. So for now, Felicity's flashlight dies. And she's using a candle to get a new one. She's digging into a closet, and we've got the door open of the closet, so she is hidden from view when we see Ben and Avery coming up on the other side of the door.
Yeah, I like this shot. It was basically a split screen shot with the door in the middle. It was really nice.
And it was really symmetrical, and I thought that they really lined that up well. Just, so many bonus points to Barnett Kellman for all the different camera shots with this one. But the thing that Felicity is going to overhear is that Ben's going to say, yep, I'm going to buy that test. And he's talking to Avery. He's saying, go call your guy. I want to cheat on this test.
Well, that's not all that is said. Also, Avery says, I already paid for it. We remember the conversation Felicity and Ben had about her paying for stuff. And she's like, yeah, I already paid for it. And Ben takes the phone. She's like, he's expecting your call. He takes the phone and he's like, all right, well, let me take this outside. So he's clearly hiding it. So it's I think it's all these things. It's the fact that he's cheating. It's the fact that she paid for it. It's the fact that he's talking to Avery about it, and the fact it's hiding it from Felicity.
Yeah, yeah. It might play a little differently if he had told Felicity about this and was like keeping her informed, but I think that comes with its own set of baggage as well. So,
Yeah.
but
She
hiding
wouldn't
it
be
from her
okay
is a
with it.
major factor for her in this.
Yeah.
So, now Felicity is just, I don't know, this is almost red alert status for her at this point. And during the documentary, she's going to grab Noel away from it. She's going to say, she's going to drop a lot of information. She's like, Ben is cheating with Avery. Well, on a test.
She doesn't say it that quickly. Like, she gives Noel a second to react. And it's very interesting how much she is leaning on Noel during this whole episode.
Yeah.
He is really her confidant. He is, very supportive. He's listening to her, except when she said, go talk to Elena. And I think he does a number of selfless things that I find interesting.
Yeah. Well, he can see that Felicity is fully frustrated here. But also, if Noel stops and thinks about this for a moment, he's getting some pretty sketchy information about Avery himself. So I guess, Felicity is looking for an ally in this. And, she can't believe that Noel's dating Avery. And Noel's like, no, dating? No, not me.
We're not dating.
No, it's not that. She's like, you hang out, you've had sex. That's called dating. Whoa, what is he's like, okay. So he goes to talk to Avery
and says your favorite phrase.
Can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
Guess who we got that one from? That one's been used against him on many occasions, and now he gets to use it.
Exactly.
It's a little less ominous with him though, because I think we know that Avery's not going to care.
Right.
and that's disturbing for him. So he delivers a breakup. He's like, you know what? Not going to work between us. And she's like, oh, okay.
I understand. Cool beans.
She is so nonplussed. Like, if you look up nonplussed in a dictionary, that's this Avery's scene. Face.
Yeah.
In this scene. She's like, right, fine. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
And all he's right. Like, wait a minute. What? What is happening? Noel is just so confused about this. He's like, he actually says, were you just using me to get close to Ben?
Yeah. The whole audience goes, duh.
And the thing is, like, Felicity didn't explicitly say that to him, right? So this has been on his mind.
Yeah.
Like, this was right at the front of his tongue. Like, he was ready to say it. It was right. Mm-hmm. It was accessible. It was a very accessible thought. And
because
Felicity,
she keeps looking at Avery. I mean, because Avery keeps looking at Ben and keeps pumping him for information about him. I mean,
yeah. So it just took this little thing from Felicity to say to him where he felt, I don't know, courageous enough to bring this up to Avery. And he asks her this direct question and she's like, what? That's a horrible thing to say. And she doesn't answer it.
Of course not.
And she doesn't even really look that outraged about the question. And they just sort of leave us there with them.
I mean, but in all fairness, Noel is not really into Avery. Noel is into Felicity. So let's not feel like this was going to be like the end-all, be-all love relationship for Noel.
Yeah, it wasn't. I love how we open this next shot where we've got a group that's watching the documentary. Okay, let me describe this group in my notes. Felicity looks frustrated. So there's 3 people in the back, 3 people in the front watching this. The 3 people in the back are Felicity, who looks frustrated, Ben, who is smiling, and Elena, who is bored. And then the 3 people in the front are Richard and Sean smothering Kris.
Yeah. And Richard is just gonna alert Elena to the shot of Tracy as Mr. October, which made me wonder, so was he Mr. October? Did he go ahead with that? I guess he did.
I guess he did. They're really zipping through this documentary.
Yeah.
My goodness. So Elena is going to see Mr. October on the screen and she's just going to leave.
Yep.
She's like, I was bored before, but now I'm just done.
Yeah. I'm out. And then Kris is going to be like, I'm also going to leave.
Yeah.
And go look for Meghan.
Well, a point is made that Meghan is the one who is choosing the guys.
Yes.
And then
we had another of that moment where she just like full on crotch shot of this dude. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, hey, the rest of my body's here too. And it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kris is like, I need to have another conversation with Meghan because I haven't had enough of those yet. I need more.
She has not been clear about the fact that she is super uncomfortable and does not want me to continue asking her if she loves me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Kris. She's not going to leave this. She's not going to leave this visit wondering if I had only said that one thing.
Right.
That is the good thing about Kris. The bad thing is that
not have any doubts.
Yeah. No means no, Kris. Okay. No means no. But now Avery wants to leave too.
Everybody is just fleeing. Mm-hmm. Fleeing the scene.
And Sean's like, can anybody sit through this? Can anybody? Just one person just sit all the way through my 8-hour or more documentary. He's wondering where Meghan is at this moment. I think he's feeling like Meghan should be supporting him.
So she's got her own stuff going on. She's smoking in the bathroom and laughing it up with Kris.
Yeah, and they're reminiscing.
I mean, that's not a hard no on her part.
It's a mixed signal for sure. Kris leans in to try to kiss Meghan, and they are interrupted.
And Meghan does not pull away.
She doesn't. They're interrupted by Sean coming into the bathroom and being like, "What?"
Yes.
Yeah. He's alarmed. He's like, what's happening? And then Kris just leaves and it's like, well, okay. So again, people leaving, people coming in. It's just a mess. And Felicity is going to address, she's not going to let time simmer here with this thing she just overheard with Ben and Avery. So she goes to Ben and she says, I heard you and Avery talking about the test.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
Well, Ben's like, it's not a big deal. Frats do this all the time. It's just not a big deal. And that's why Felicity's like, yeah, well, if it's not a big deal, then why didn't you tell me? But you went ahead and confided in Avery?
Yeah, Ben's saying, he was embarrassed to tell her. She's like, but you don't have to cheat. And then he gets fully defensive.
Yes, that's the word I use too.
And he's, is this where he tells her about the academic probation or just, I'm not as smart as you? No, he says that later.
Says here, maybe I'm just stupid.
Yeah.
And storms off.
And like, I'm not as smart as you. And it's just it feels so like it feels like the reaction he had to Felicity rewriting his paper.
Yeah, this has come up. I mean, her mom was just here. He's already sensitive. This is like a raw nerve.
Yeah.
And Avery is a bit of salve to put on this nerve because she also cheats.
Yeah.
She also, maybe isn't the best academically. She's providing him with the easy way out. And Felicity won't do that. And so he is just going to continue to get more and more upset as she kind of pushes on and rubs this raw nerve that he has open.
Yeah. And Felicity hasn't actually done anything in this moment that would justify his going to this point. But it's an internal issue that he's got. And here it is again.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen what insecurity looks like with Noel. This is what insecurity looks like with Ben. Yeah. And this is why, a confident man or woman who is like secure in themselves, for me, is sort of the number one, right?
Mhm.
Because insecurity creates
This. Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So sad. And so then he storms out and finds
And
Avery
this is
waiting
so
outside the
creepy.
building for him.
Yeah, she's just standing there waiting for Ben. I'm like, woman, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's disturbing to say the least.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
now we're going.
it's not holding his blood in a bag disturbing, but it is disturbing nonetheless.
I mean, how many women have waited outside a building for this man? A lot. This reminded me of Maggie waiting for him. This is reminding me of Felicity waiting, well, to break up with him.
Yeah.
This is having a
Look,
lot
at
with him.
some point, the man will leave the building. So you
Eventually it'll
just have to
happen.
wait.
Yeah. Yeah. We are now going to head to another frustrating scene. So
Very.
it's a Sean Meghan blow up where Sean is at a 12 out of 10
Yes.
in the red hot category. And he is just angry with her that she kept this a secret. When were you going to tell me you're gay?
Yeah.
Who are you?
The thing is, I feel like this scene starts out right. Okay, he's upset, which I actually think is good, right? It's not like, oh, it's just a woman. He's like, no, this was a romantic night, and he does not care about the documentary in this moment. Once he realizes something is going on with his relationship, he is full on 100% focused on that. And while Meghan tries to be dismissive and calls him ridiculous, he's mad that there's a secret. He's mad there's an almost kiss. He's mad. He's like, if I had a relationship with someone who had a penis, like, wouldn't you have wanted to know? And Meghan's going to say, well, not really. But I don't think that's true. Like, if it was a romantic relationship that was like coming back to the surface, and then the scene falls completely apart.
I mean, and Meghan keeps she's using the party line of, it was one night 4 years ago. I mean, I think Sean's sensing that it's not just that. I mean, Meghan wasn't pulling away from the kiss that he almost saw. So I think.
But this line of like, when were you going to tell me you're gay? That's what I'm pointing at in terms of the writers / audience didn't have the spectrum, didn't have the ability to talk about this in a, I don't want to say just non-offensive way, but in a realistic way.
Yeah. And from that moment, he just keeps going off the rails with things that are just feel not how you would handle it now. But it's just like,
it is.
You had a relationship with a woman that would have been a really good thing for me to know as your boyfriend. It's just like, some of that makes sense to me, but I do think he's at just such a level of panic and such a level of labeling her. And never actually got from her point of view on what she thinks the situation is. And we never get that.
Yeah, I feel like he's the kind of guy who just needs to get the dig in, So he's like, who are you? You lied, you almost cheated, like, fair. But then you may not be straight, he's got to get the dig in.
Yeah.
And of course, Meghan's going to be like, well, don't worry about it. You don't have a girlfriend anymore. And he's got to turn around again and said, well, I may not, but do you? He's got to get that last thing in. And it's ignorant, it's ignorance, and it's
shouted. So it's like, oh, that sounds really loud. And it's a lot. And Meghan's going to leave the room at this point, and it's basically another breakup. And so you have that. going on. And then we head from there to another gross scene. Um,
It's true.
and
She's lining them up for us.
that's it, just like one after another here. So Richard is going to find Elena in her room. She's somehow looking up breast enlargement. I can't remember how they said she was doing that in a power outage, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he walks in and she's got her computer up. I mean, but at the same time, Noel had his computer up, but it wasn't attached to the internet. So I don't know if she had an Ethernet. If you have an Ethernet cord, is I maybe that gives you internet during a power outage if you have batteries. The
I don't
phone
know
still
if
works.
modems are battery powered, to be honest, but I
Well, she
mean,
could have had the phone because the phone worked, right?
okay.
We knew that. So she could have plugged in the phone cord, I guess. But she is fixated to the point where she is going to find internet in a blackout to look
Yeah.
up the cost of new boobs.
And she's looking up different types, and Richard's enamored of it. He's like, I'm adding this to my favorite places on my internet searches. And Elena's like,
Yes.
you're disgusting. And then Richard's whole way of consoling her here is half sweet and half horrific. Where he's like, you don't need these. I mean, you like these aren't real. Like you look nice. You look healthier. Like
He's like, do you really want, to buy something that perverts like me can just find online
oh,
and
actually,
download?
I'm rolling in a scene from
Oh,
later.
okay.
In this
Yeah,
part,
because
he's just saying he's remarking on her enhanced looking breasts because she's, I guess, still stuffed or was stuffed. And he's like, but you were looking nice and you're looking healthier earlier. She's like, I had tissues
yeah, and
in my
and
bra.
she's just like, thank you for confirming that all men are superficial pigs.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna head into another real I liked this camera angle, this shot, actually. We're going back to the documentary, but this time we have a
There's
straight
only
on shot to the laptop
one person.
behind it who can't see what we're watching. So the only people currently watching this documentary is us, the audience.
Yeah.
And so Noel's gonna come in and he's like, what a crazy night this is.
Well, Felicity is the one there. She's
Yeah.
she's the single person watching the documentary.
Yeah. And then Noel comes in and says that, and Felicity kind of sighs and says, Ben left. And she says, when we dated, was I hard to talk to?
She knows the answer from Noel here. The thing is, see, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of she's not feeling secure in her relationship with Ben, so let me go to Noel and hear all the good things about me. I don't like how she's playing them off each other.
And this is definitely a thing that she's doing, right? And she's at fault for that just as much as anybody. So, Noel, of course, is going to say, you're the easiest person in the world to talk to. And then he goes into like, let me help Felicity mode.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't say either one of them are great in this scene as like people, because yes, Felicity is relying on getting her ego boosted by Noel. But when she says, Ben's different, he's not like this, the smile that Noel gets on his face as part of that starts to remind me again of like when Felicity's in pain, season 1 Noel. And I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah.
Stop smiling when other people are in pain.
So he's been activated. He's going to take it upon himself. He wants to show her something. We're going to find out what that is in a minute. In the meantime, we're going to another Meghan and Kris scene. So they're now going to have another conversation in the hallway. This time there are a bunch of neighbors that are in the hallway, which I liked. I like that they had that element about it, that like here in this blackout situation, people from all over the building are convening. it makes the building feel more lived in because rarely do we see anybody else in it.
Yeah.
So that was nice. And we're going to see Meghan find Kris on the stairs. So they do find a quiet place, but we can hear other people talking in the background. Because there's, there's neighbors in the hallway. So I don't know. I like that they had this touch. Meghan's going to sort of come down with a final answer on this, I think, if at least to Kris, where she says, yeah, Sean and I just broke up and we're going to get back together. And that's all really good for me because I can't wait to make up with him. That's what we do. That's how our dynamic works. And I love him and I love guys.
And I wish I didn't because they're idiots, but I do.
Yeah. So she's, we're never really going to get her full thoughts on the Kris, or really any of her thoughts about the Kris relationship here. We can only read between the lines of how she's acting in this episode. But she's at least giving Kris a firm answer.
I think she gave Kris many firm signs by fleeing and saying no and putting her hands over her face and saying, don't do this to me. But
the part of me that wonders,
the
part of me that wonders about where she really is with this herself, like in her own heart, is the fact that she probably would have let Kris kiss her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. In the last scene, like, we don't see her pull away.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, she has to really say this. And she's just had this confrontation with Sean, and it's solidifying in her mind at this moment, right? She's like, when she says, I can't wait to make up with him, that's what she's thinking right now.
Yeah.
And Kris here, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this. She says, well, there goes my prenuptial fling. And I'm just like, oh, that is, I mean, maybe she's just trying to minimize it because it's painful, but at the same time, like, she is engaged. And she came out here to do what? And what was his name? Gary? Like, I'm feeling for that guy.
Yeah. This is the reverse Todd Mulcahy. It's upsetting. And Meghan's like, are you sure that you should be getting married? Like, should you be having a prenuptial anything?
Right.
And they just sort of leave that there, and Kris is going to noodle on that for a bit. They'll resume that conversation later. We're now going to head to the loft for a Ben and Avery scene. And this is where we found out something about Avery that I was like, oh my God, this woman. So she is prepping for tomorrow a victim impact statement. She's supposed to go to court and she's supposed to speak out about the impact of James shooting her. That is a huge, huge deal. In another show, this would be, you'd build a whole episode at least around Avery, like, and the things she was feeling and trying to brace herself for this victim impact statement. And this is like, what a cool cucumber this woman is. She, up until this point, you never even would have known that she had something as big as that happening tomorrow.
Well, so to me, the reason that we don't have a whole episode about this is because she doesn't really care that much, it seems. I mean, to me, she is using the fact that she's going to go give a victim impact statement to tell Ben basically that she's in love with him. And
to activate his hero complex, so he'll like want to talk it through with her and have a reason to do it. So yeah, absolutely, this is
she's
for Avery
100% just using this as a manipulation tactic again to get what she wants, which is why I stand by my first statement about her, which is I think that she is a psychopath.
Which is what I was thinking when I saw this. I was like, Fish might be right, because I was like, this is not a nothing thing.
Right. I
It's
mean, she
like
doesn't care if James goes out and shoots somebody else. She wants Ben, and she's going to use this to
she,
get him.
and beyond that, like she was shot and almost died. And
Hmm.
that is a severe trauma that she's going to have to relive tomorrow. Like,
And
and
yet,
she's just like, whatever. This
yep,
is a great tool to use with Ben. I find
correct.
it so
It
interesting.
is, it's a reason, there is a reason this is diagnosable.
Yeah.
This is not normal.
No, it doesn't seem
Um,
normal. And again, it's not something that makes her, like, to your point from earlier, it's not something that makes her like a good character. Like, it doesn't, it's not like the counterpoint to all the bad stuff we're seeing. I'm just like, wow. This is a thing the show is telling us about Avery that is so layering the levels of damage that she has in a way that feels nuanced. Whereas with James, it was like very extreme and piled on. And this is just like,
well,
whoa.
so and I also, I don't know how much the show did in terms of research, right? Because you have psychopaths and you have sociopaths, and sociopaths are, say, much more quickly triggered to anger, and psychopaths are very cool and very calculating. And they say that psychopaths are born and sociopaths are made.
Mhm.
So, in terms of trauma, like if she was a sociopath, like James is probably in that category, right?
Mhm.
Like when we see him, he's violent, he's, you know, but he's probably gone through a lot of trauma in his life.
Mhm.
And so maybe there is potentially like a redeemable, we can like treat you for the trauma. But
Mhm.
with Avery, it's like she was probably born this way and it won't change. And to
Yeah.
me, she seems much more insidious than James ever did. Maybe not
Yeah.
more threatening from a life and death perspective, but just from a straight, like, if I were to say who's evil kind of person, I mean, again,
Yeah. But
it's a
it's this
diagnosable mental
insidious thing
condition.
though, like you said, because it's been a minute since I had my last rewatch of this show, and I did not remember that she was giving a victim impact statement here. And when I watched it this time, I was like, that's a really big deal.
And also, did you see what she was wearing to the victim impact statement?
I mean,
Damn.
it's like she was so unaffected by this that
Yep.
I didn't put the weight to what she was actually doing here at all. And
Yeah.
then watching it this time, I was like, this, it's so funny because this would be the type of thing that she should have needed support for.
Mhm.
And this would be the type of thing that Ben would be a hero to her for, to help her with. But she doesn't actually care.
Nope.
So while in a normal situation, those things would be true, this is a manipulation tactic for her.
Hmm.
And it confused me as a viewer because for years I just watched this and was like, whatever, she's just going to court and it's fine. And then I just watched it this time and it landed totally differently. I was like, this is messed up. This is
It
a
is,
big deal.
it
And
is a really big
she
deal.
could very well be coming out of that courtroom like crying or in shock or like shaking
Nope.
and rocking back and forth in a corner trying to comfort herself. And she's just like, are we going to Southampton or what, man?
Yeah.
I could not
Yep.
wrap my head around Avery being the coolest cucumber of all cool cucumbers. I just
Yeah,
can't.
it's a very nice way to put it.
Or as you might put it, a psychopath.
Yeah. I mean, some people may say resilient psychopath. I mean,
uh,
um,
I don't
but I
know.
mean,
Resilient.
there's one thing about resilience, all right? There's another thing where if you are a resilient person, you can still care that your statement is going to affect James's jail time and whether or not he is able to get out and do
And
this to another person.
resilience doesn't mean emotionless either. It means
Right.
you're overcoming hard situations. And a lot of us acknowledge that they're hard while we're going through them. And for Avery, it never seems like it registered for her
Mm-mm.
the actual weight of what was happening, not only for like what it means for James to be behind bars and not out doing this type of stuff to others or like getting help himself or whatever, but because
Mm-hmm.
she herself just experienced a trauma 3 months ago that almost ended her life. And something like this, rehashing for a court what happened to you, how could that not be a thing that like makes you think?
But I
Like
bet you
it's
if we
wild.
had seen her in court, she would have been very convincing as a victim.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
I'm sure she would have been.
she probably did shed some tears, maybe had some shakes.
But we're telling you, listeners, this woman
Didn't. Did
didn't
not
really
really.
feel those things.
Because she wants to tell Ben, I doubt she actually told the people, but she will tell Ben, one of the things that I'm going to tell them about is meeting you. It's like this great thing happened, this is the thing. And just, I, I don't see how that doesn't land a little sour for Ben, but it doesn't seem to.
It doesn't seem to. I mean, because he's trying to psych her up, like tell the truth, and she's just listing off the things that happened as a result of this. And yeah, you're right. She includes him on it, and it's
which is
not
a positive.
it's not something that rings false for him.
Yeah, and he says, I don't think that's really
What they want
what
to
they're
know
looking
about.
for.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Oof.
ouch. Like,
Yeah, he's
whew,
man.
he is a character. I will say that.
So now we're gonna head back to Noel and Felicity. And Sean's gonna come in and Noel's like, hey Sean, where is that Ben interview that just happened? And Sean is very distracted.
Mhm.
Like he can't quite yet help with this project because he goes to Felicity and he says, did Meghan ever come on to you? Like every woman that he's ever encountered in the context of Meghan is now potentially a love interest, which is blowing his mind. And then
God.
and then finally he's going to direct Noel where to look, and Noel's going to show Felicity this interview that was done with Ben, where Ben is sharing his thoughts about Felicity and saying some of the things that you were saying before, Fish.
And I think that this is a really selfless moment for Noel.
Okay.
He says, I remember when, I was going through all this stuff with you.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean showed me this interview that you gave about me. And it really changed everything. And so I want to do the same thing for you now. So for me, this is like it's the best of Noel.
Okay. All right. So at least there's that. He stopped being the thorn in Ben's side for a minute.
I mean, not just stop being a thorn. I mean, he really goes out on a limb here and is showing her something real and means to show her something real to get her and Ben, back in the same place. Now, just because it doesn't work out that way doesn't mean that that wasn't his intention. And he goes through some real pain, when he's
talk to me again next episode. Yeah.
Well, as I watch it this time,
yes, yeah,
this seems like a selfless moment.
Yes, this is a great moment for Noel. The content of Ben's interview is, he's really just talking about how he feels about Felicity's, and he's like, Felicity, she's tough,
She has
But it's,
standards.
yeah, it's good for me though, because she pushes me, she makes me better. And I get upset
It's,
with her.
yeah.
Some might say defensive.
He says pissed off, but
Yeah.
yes, that's what happens.
And he's like, but then I realize she's right. Always. She is always right.
Yes.
And he asks Sean to
And
erase it.
that's why I love her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he asks Sean to, yeah. And Felicity watches it and she smiles and she says thank you and she kisses Noel on the cheek.
Oh,
And
poor
the
Noel.
pain in his
Yeah.
smile and face, like you see it when she's kissing him on the cheek.
Yeah.
You know, she leaves and then they just give you this like long close-up shot of like Noel crumbling
Yeah.
inside.
He's dying a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe more than a little bit, to the point where he just says to Sean, hey, ever been to Seattle?
Yeah.
And we know he is thinking about that job.
Yeah. It's like he can't even be in the same
Yeah, this is
state.
becoming untenable for Noel. So we are going to head to a confusing button that they put on
I
what's,
love this scene.
I mean, so it's a Richard Elena scene where Richard now is going to try to contradict every piece of everything that he's done for the rest of the episode, as if that's like the answer. And he's like, yeah, you know what? It's fun looking at these breasts online and they're great and all, but you don't need these. This is stupid, Elena.
Yeah.
Like, your breasts are perfect. And then
Yeah,
he
they're
grabs
natural.
them.
Right. And I put it's sweet until he touches them.
Well, sweet until he touches them. And also, you can't buy this for a second, because every single thing that he's done to this point has been him being obsessed with the breasts. Like, it's,
I don't think this contradicts that though, because I mean, one of the things that she says is, you know, there's all these different, I think she says something like, you like them all. And he's like, yeah, they're breasts. So it's like, she has breasts. I mean, he's kind of all for them.
of
Any
all
shape
shapes
or
and
side.
sizes. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Fair enough. So then he goes to grab them and she's going to like karate kick or whatever his
She
face.
kicks him in the head and
Yeah.
knocks him off the bed, and he falls on the ground. He like tries to get up and falls down again, and I just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
This is the appropriate response.
I
Good
guess
job.
so. I mean,
I like it when Elena gets violent. It's fun for me.
yeah, that's fun. I guess
Especially
what
when
is
we see
this?
how bad it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just, what is this storyline? I just don't know.
yeah, I agree. It's still stupid, but I enjoyed seeing him get kicked in the face.
Yeah, there's at least that. The violence is fun.
Yeah.
So we're now going to go back to Avery and Ben at the loft. Avery is inviting Ben to Southampton.
Yeah, I mean, look, in all fairness, I can understand Felicity being pissed at this scene because they are drinking to candlelight. You know, maybe don't put yourself in this position if you have a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
So I get it, right? So Ben is going to decline the Southampton offer, but Avery is like, is that because you don't want to go or because you have a girlfriend? Think about it.
Well,
And
and he doesn't respond,
he doesn't.
which is why she can say, think about it. I mean, she is seducing him.
She
This
really
is
is.
full on seduction.
She really is. And then like we're going to see it so blatantly through Felicity's eyes in a minute, because Felicity's going to show up. Avery's going to excuse herself from the room for a moment, and Felicity's going to show up, and she's like, "Can we talk?" And
Ben just looks really guiltily back, knowing Avery's in there somewhere.
Yeah. And
And
then
Avery's
Avery's
going
going to
to
come
come
right back
out
out. Yeah.
carrying the most romantic of candles, right?
Yeah.
It's the candle in the, I don't know if it's like a wine bottle or something, and it's got like the wax is dripped down around it. It's what you see in like the fancy restaurants
Yeah.
version of a candle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
And
Ben's gonna
Felicity's going to
flat
look at
out lie.
this. Yeah. Well, Felicity's going to look at this with a question mark all over her face. She's like, what
Hmm.
is happening here? Ben's saying, just helping Avery with her victim impact statement.
Lie. Total lie. You were talking about Southampton and not saying that you wanted to be with Felicity, you know?
Yeah. And Avery's gonna leave. She's gonna
Yeah.
leave.
Gonna run
And
away. Run away.
Ben's gonna reiterate to Felicity, like there's nothing going on here.
Well,
And
because Felicity asks. I mean, she straight up asks, "What is going on with you two?"
yeah, and so she's not buying it. Felicity's really seeing the main points of this. She's like, look, you have a whole thing with her. Like
Hmm.
you had this whole experience together. It's not nothing. Um, and she's right about that. And I still feel like Ben is just kind of at sea right now. I think that he was deeply impacted by what happened to Avery and ultimately what he was directly there to witness. And I don't know that he knows exactly what compartments to put that into in his brain, but because Avery is coming on so strong, it's leading him down a path. But I don't know if that's actually the path he needs. Like I think
It's certainly not the path he needs, but let me tell you, it's happening, and
it's
he's not
happening.
saying
But
no.
I think so. There are a lot of people who look at this with Ben and they're like, emotional cheating. He's doing emotional cheating on her. On Felicity. He's horrible. We can't excuse this. I actually come down in a slightly more nuanced place with this, where I'm like, no, if I were dating Ben and Ben were doing this, I would not feel good about this. But here's the thing: this is not exactly like Hannah comes to town and Noel has feelings for both women and Noel's pulled in both directions and Noel goes off with Hannah. This is a traumatic situation happened and Ben is different. He doesn't necessarily know how. I don't know if he's got enough distance from this to know how, but Ben has changed. Ben is not going back to pre-shooting, holding somebody's hand while they died, Ben, watching EMTs revive her, Ben. Like, this does not feel as simple to me as to boil this down to like, he's being a stupid guy cheating on, like, I think we're going down this path that feels like that. But for me, it's like, Ben, I'm not going to ask Ben to be pre-shooting Ben. Like, and he has to figure out what this is. And I think Avery is a complicating factor because of the way Avery's being. But he was really, like, if we think about that first interview he did with Sean in the episode right after, when they opened the episode and everybody was talking about what they experienced, and he's like, she died and then they saved her, and the look on his face, like, I just think about that and I think it's really unfortunate that what we're getting from Avery is a woman who's preying on him. Like, she has absolutely sunk her claws into him and is not letting go, and he's letting it happen. But
I mean, I don't expect him to be the pre-shooting Ben either, but what I do expect him to do is continue to be faithful to his girlfriend and have these conversations with her instead
yeah,
of having it going on in his own mind and having these weird moments with Avery.
sure, yeah,
And then layered on top of that, you know, using Avery as an excuse to take the easy way out, and then basically, he looks back in a guilty way, knowing Avery's in the room, and then he just blows up at Felicity. He's, yes, it's pushing on an insecurity of his. He's like, I have to cheat. He starts yelling. I don't really think it's about the test. He's yelling because he's defensive and he's guilty, and it involves the feelings that he has for Avery. Whether or not they are romantic, he is being seduced by something about her, whether it's the money, whether it's the ease, whether it's how into him she is, whether it's the experience. Something is happening. He is not examining it with his girlfriend. He's not being honest with her. He is hiding things from her. And to me, all of that is not okay.
Yeah.
And I do consider it's not so much, I would say, emotional cheating, but it's close. I mean, having this connection and having Avery say, come with Southampton to me, and him not saying, no, I love Felicity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I guess in this moment, I'm also okay with Ben deciding he shouldn't be with Felicity. And I know I'm not supposed to be feeling that way.
No,
it's a show called Felicity.
No, that is completely fair thing to say about a person. Like, maybe he needs to figure some stuff out.
And I guess I would have said the same thing about Noel and Hannah. Like, if you want to be with Hannah, be with Hannah. And you're right. Like, I think it's the communication factor that's really missing here. But in a way that I'm giving more latitude to Ben than I did to Noel. I really think that Ben needs to do some digging and some soul searching here and find out what triggered him so much around, or like what's different for him
I guess
around the trauma.
I give the same latitude to both of them, I guess, because Noel dated Hannah for 2 years. So, I mean, she could have been his person for life. And he was confused, and he was pretty honest about it with Felicity, which wasn't great for her, but at least he told her about it. Ben's not saying anything. He's not communicating at all about this. And he's being asked point blank, and he's saying nothing. He is yelling at her about something that has nothing to do with what her actual question is. So for me, it's like two different situations, but it's one of those things where you got to get yourself straight before you can be with somebody else.
And I want him to do that. I kind of wish he had a moment without either of these people, without either of these women, like trying to have conversations and be there for him and support him. I wish he had a moment to just be like, what just happened? Like what is this connection I feel to Avery? What is the thing that happened when I was in the ambulance? What does this mean? Because he really, I don't know. I just, this is bigger than all that for him. And I guess I'm bringing future knowledge in terms of like what sort of lands for him. But it is a traumatic event that led to all that, like that triggered all of this. So you kind of wish, but the show only, even at that time, there wasn't a lot of investigation of that kind of thing in shows.
I mean, I think there is a woman that Ben should be with, and her name is Dr. Tony Pavone.
I would have loved to see that.
Yeah. I mean
That would have been
that's what he
really,
needs
that would have
is
been
some
really
therapy.
interesting fish. I think that Pavone could have really shed some things, shed some light on some situations for him by asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been very cool.
And
I
he's
mean,
got
we got
multiple.
this story, but you know, I want the best for Ben here, and I don't think that having either of these women breathing down his neck is actually going to give him that clarity until he has a moment to think. I
And
want the best for
also,
Felicity as well, and I think that she needs to get sorted around like why she's going to Noel.
mhm,
Like in these moments
yes.
where she can't go to Ben, and I like
Well, I
that.
think that's a little more obvious, right? He
Yeah,
pumps up her ego. He's in love with her. He idolizes her. I mean, who
like
wouldn't
these are
want
these
that?
pathways that have been established in their relationship, and this one with Avery is a totally new pathway, but the one with Noel it's been there. Um, the Avery factor is new, and you know, Ben hasn't had like a fallback like that in their relationship to this point. So it is sort of strange to see this, to see that he kind of has one now because it's being forced on him. And he's not saying no.
And he's got multiple things going on. He's got the trauma. He's got Avery coming on like a tiger. He's got the academic probation,
Which
you
he
know?
drops this, and so he apparently he now equates failing this test to getting expelled.
Yeah.
And like, if I fail the test, I fail the course, I get expelled. And this has been an issue for a year.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, since
that's
last year,
yeah,
or the end of last year. So I assume it happened at the end of the academic year.
yeah.
And I don't know how far into the semester we are. I mean, or maybe
Well,
second
we're
semester. It's been a
after
while.
it's second
We're after
semester, we're after the
finals.
holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's well, let's
And
see.
it's tied
It's
to
the end of
his,
the year, yeah, because
yeah.
the Let's Get It On was the holiday episode, but then 3 months passed.
Oh, that's right.
So that would put
Good
us
point.
March, April,
Yeah. It's
March,
been a
April.
while.
Um,
And
there.
this is related to a deep-seated insecurity of his. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many levels and different parts of his life that I feel like a professional could have helped him with. But
Uh,
if he's going to do this on his own, let's just going to say, I'm going to predict he's going to be messing up, you know? I mean, that's how we
you just made
learn.
me really wish we had some Pavone scenes for this because I think that could have
Yeah.
been cool. That's a missed opportunity. And, I love Pavone. So, the other thing that Felicity spots in this conversation, on top of it all, like
Mhm.
rubbing salt in the wound, is
Yeah.
that Ben is wearing the watch that Avery gave him.
Of course he is, because Avery was there and she was like, just try it on. And I mean, so let's just quickly tie up the academic probation thing. Felicity is upset that he hasn't said anything to her because, it's embarrassing. I haven't told anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that. Like, I don't think he told Avery that. I don't think he told anybody. He's just trying to deal with it on his own. And yeah, this is one of those things where, you know, Avery comes in, she's in his house, she leaves, she knows she's got him wearing the watch, so she's feeling pretty good about probably the situation she's left them in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's getting the reaction out of Felicity that she wants.
Yeah, and Felicity is gonna leave near tears. She's like, you know what, whatever.
Full on crying.
What? Just wear the watch. Do the help Avery, like whatever.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
care
care
anymore.
anymore. Which she obviously does, but she's just at that point where she's like, this is that moment, Ben.
This is the
Like,
moment where you actually go into hero mode and help Felicity.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
does he do that?
No,
No.
no, he
What
does
does he
not.
do? He just closes the door.
Yeah. So let's go back to the ladies' apartment where we're going to see Meghan and Kris.
And here's the big reveal. This is it. This is the question we've been asking.
Elena's bed is apparently in the same room.
Meghan and Elena are roommates.
Yeah.
These
So
are the two beds we've been wondering about.
so Meghan is on her bed. Kris is sleeping on the floor. Kris has been up. Meghan wakes up. And we get the whole, was I snoring? Was Elena snoring? Like, yes, yes, this is what we needed to know. Thank you.
Yes, this is amazing.
But the main
We now
point of
know.
this scene, even though actually for us that was the main point of the scene, the main point
It
of the
was.
scene is that Kris is really struggling. She's been up thinking about this relationship with Gary, her fiance, and she's struggling with the idea of ending things. But the fact that she's talking in that way seems like Meghan got through.
Yeah, I mean, she says ending something with a fiance is going to be really hard, but she says she's going to do it. She
Yeah.
is going to end it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I should have said this earlier, but I remember specifically in the floor scene, I really like her hair and makeup. I think they have done a really good job with her. So,
Okay.
All
right.
I mean, it's like the weird 90s coloring, but I think they did a good job with her.
Well, let's hear it for them.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to another Noel and Felicity scene. I think they're still in the ladies' apartment in their kitchen.
Yeah, I think they're in her kitchen, and I am not loving Felicity in this scene.
Really?
Really.
I do love Kerry Russell's acting though at the end.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I see your point. So Noel, everybody's thought things through in the morning.
Yeah. Noel's been up all night.
Yeah,
thinking.
Noel's thinking like maybe I might check out that Seattle job, just possibly. I could possibly think about maybe mention, just I want to see about the Seattle job. And he says it to Felicity.
Yeah. And Felicity completely ignores that and says Ben and I got into a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just totally ignores.
Well, she gives him a wow, and then she moves on to her thing.
She just goes on. She's like, Avery happened. They have this connection. I can't compete. And then, Noel goes into his adoration of Felicity, state.
Yeah.
Ben can't really like Avery. And then just, casually drops, oh, no, I'm not really moving to Seattle. No, now you and Ben are fighting. Well, I'm definitely staying here. I have to support you.
In order to get there, because I think Felicity is a little bit more of a shaper of this conversation than you might be giving it credit for. So, Felicity says the whole thing about that can't compete with Avery. Noel says, Ben can't like Avery, and Felicity circles back to the Seattle thing because she's like, now you're moving too. This just sucks.
Yeah.
And I think that is where he goes, oh, wait. No. Did I moving? No, I didn't. Can't go to Seattle. It's like rains and there's Bill Gates and there's Kenny G. And like, I just can't. And he delivers that dialogue in the Noel way that we all know and love. But
he's definitely doing it because of Felicity.
Yeah, like
and
Felicity being like,
just
you're moving now
registered.
on top of all of this. I don't think it was necessarily something she was trying to manipulate, but I do think that that is the result was the same. And
this is more the like self-centered Felicity from before. Like, she's in a lot of pain. She's got a lot of stuff going on in her head, and she is not at all noticing how big of an effect her like she and her words and her emotions that she is confiding in Noel, her not boyfriend,
Yeah.
have on this man who is clearly head over heels in love with her. And he says, I'm not going to Seattle. It's definitely because of her. And
Yeah.
what does she say to that? Nothing about that. Nothing
Yeah.
about Noel. No reaction. She just says, I'm sad.
And from an acting stand, I want to give this an award for Kerry Russell in this acting moment because so Noel delivers his sort of quick paced reasoning for not going to Seattle. There's a little bit of dead air there. You watch Felicity's face and she's just sitting there and she's going all internal and she's thinking about herself. And she goes, I'm sad. He's like, you're sad. And then you watch as the vein slowly appears on her forehead. Just the delivery of the I'm sad and then the slow sinking into that and then the vein. I mean, come on.
I missed the vein this time.
Oh, it was so subtle, but you can see it coming out at the end, just a little, the hint of a sad vein. Normally the vein comes out when there's like a bit of anger behind it too. But this was just sad. It was a sad, weak vein. I was just like, man, how'd she do that? So
I will fully give her that she is completely wrapped up inside of herself in this scene. And
it is jerking Noel around.
It is jerking Noel around.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly realistic.
Yeah. I mean, her world is kind of crumbling right now. So to hear Noel seriously talking about this move is a lot. But Noel, at a certain point, Noel, be your own person.
Yeah, that is the thing. You do have to say to Noel, like, you're a senior, you're finishing up. Like, I get that you're in love with her, but you can't just be there for her all the time in this friendship role if it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting around waiting for Ben's cast-offs, then that's creepy too.
Mm-hmm.
And here he smiles again. Every time he freaking smiles, it creeps me out because she's so sad.
Yeah.
And he's smiling again.
And think about too, like the different dynamic of her relationship with these guys and like in the way they're allowed to become their own people. Like when you think about Felicity and Ben, they've had these situations where it's like, no, you go do this for the summer because you need that. Okay, I'll go do this for the summer because I need that. And they give each other some amount of space to have these opportunities that allow them to grow their careers or grow themselves or grow their finances or whatever in a relationship. And then there's a lot of stakes in that. Like everything inside them may be saying, we want to do this together. We want to be together for this time. And they've already had these moments where they've given each other room to go do something else. And then you look at this friendship with Noel, and here Noel's like sacrificing the only job we know about, or saying he might, for what? His friend?
Yeah, this is codependency central.
It's not great, and it's like, and he's prepared to be giving up more than she is. What's she giving up? So it's like, I just find it so interesting, the way that it's set up there. And man, no.
I mean, but the only reason that Ben and Felicity could give each other that time is because they felt secure then. Yeah. I think this Ben and Felicity right now are not that strong.
Yeah, no, not right now.
So we have to remember that Noel is in a very different place and always has been in his relationship with Felicity. He's never felt secure.
Yeah.
So, maybe this would be different if he really felt, that Felicity and him we're going to stay together.
Yeah.
If the whole Hannah thing hadn't happened, like, I think a lot of it is timing on their part. He was too young and immature. Hannah came back, everything got messed up. Then he couldn't come back from it. I just don't, and now he's settled into this codependent role that isn't healthy for either of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus the smiling.
Plus the smiling when she's sad. Yeah. And the sad vein comes out and the Noel smiling thing. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, let's go to Elena and Richard button on that story.
I love this.
So Elena is going to show up at Richard's, who, I mean, for sure, this is a broken nose, right?
Oh my God, his whole face is broken.
His whole face is
like
broken.
It's like it's like both eyes, part of his forehead, completely his nose, like around the bottom of his nose. Like she just like
all black
broke
and blue.
2/3 of his face.
At least.
Yeah.
But she's gonna bring over a muffin that if he's really hurting, he can't eat it.
And then she's gonna try to eat it.
Yeah. She wants to apologize. And she wants to loop him in on the decision that she's going to keep her boobs and Richard's going to keep the muffin and then we're good, right?
Yeah, he has to take a little, cotton ball out of his nose so he can smell the muffin. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he'll heal, I assume, by the next episode.
Probably totally fine by the next episode, if I remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So we're now going to get to like a walk and talk sort of city day walking sort of thing with Noel and Felicity out on the street. And he's trying to talk about Loser Pet Store and she's like, can we not though? Let's just go to a movie.
And how dated was this? He's like, let me get a paper. And he puts
what's playing.
like a quarter in the slot and pulls a paper out to see what movies are playing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Feels like the 90s again, or early 2000s.
This is what happened. So
nobody had a smartphone. Nobody went on, bought tickets immediately. I mean, it was simpler times.
Not every theater would have had a website either at this point, even if you had access to check that out. So they're going to go see a movie, but then Felicity sees Ben across the street. Ben has seen them. Ben's approaching them. Felicity's like, this is the absolute last thing that I feel like dealing with right now.
And Ben's going to say your favorite line.
Can we talk?
Can we talk? Can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah. And Felicity is going to decline. She wants to go to a movie with Noel.
Yeah, just flat out no, and walks away with Noel. And we watch Ben, first of all, not at all fight this, which, okay, maybe he shouldn't. But as he walks away, he turns back and he looks at them. And it's not a look of longing. It's kind of a look of, well, Felicity's with Noel right now. Mm-hmm. So, like, where should I be? Or what can I be doing?
Yeah. And we'll find out that in a minute. After we see a bit with Meghan and Sean, was it supposed to be comedic end to this storyline where
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
this is all just so confusing for me. So their apologies happen. Sean's apologizing, or
Meghan apologizes.
Kris has officially left, and now Sean perks up. The threat is gone,
so he's fine.
So as long as they're back together, everything's good. But then he's like, but if you ever did want to bring a woman into the bedroom with us. And Meghan's like, what? It's like, so she's going to joke it off and she's going to be like, you should have said that while Kris was here. He's like, really? She's like, no. What's Sean's stance on all of this?
I mean, Sean's stance is he's a guy and he wouldn't turn down a threesome as long as it doesn't, jeopardize his relationship.
Guess so.
Don't you remember how Elena found out that all men were pigs? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if Sean was like red hot about the idea of Meghan being gay, and that hasn't actually been discussed now, like why is this okay for him? Like when I don't know.
If it's another woman and it's really, I mean, they're back together again, right?
Mhm.
So, like, as soon as they're back together again, everything's fine. They all get hot tempered, it's their thing. Um, you know, he's a guy. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like, they're falling into
Yeah.
stereotypes about men.
And they're
And
just sort of
yeah,
glossing over this because they never want to address any of this stuff again on the show. So it's
right.
like, how can we just sort of group hug this out and then let them move on to totally different stories in the
Yeah, I mean, they
future?
have to prepare to fight for next week
Yeah, it's just so crazy to me.
over the peanut butter, right? Yeah.
Well, it's not peanut butter, but it's probably something not like
Yeah.
inconsequential. The thing is, like, I guess part of my complaint about this is that every fight gets a fight of the week, 1 week sort of thing, whether it's do you like my nose or like, are
A
you
pre-
gay?
well,
It's
or
like,
like a previous relationship comes back into town and she almost cheats on him.
yeah, like I don't think that all of these should get exactly the same amount of weight in terms of episode time. I
Yeah.
do think that no, holding by that statement. I think that there are certain fights they have that feel like this isn't a big deal, really. They'll fight, they'll break up, and they'll make up again. And then there's stuff like this, which is like, this isn't a one episode fight in that same
Yeah.
way, but it's a one episode fight nonetheless. So there you
That's
have it.
fair. I was thinking the same thing.
Um, so where did Ben go after seeing, Felicity go off with Noel? Well, he is now waiting for Avery after her victim impact statement.
And I love this shot because I wasn't sure where he was, right? He's just sitting in a hallway, and I thought maybe like he had to go into the dean for his academic probation or something. And you start seeing people walk out of this room, and everyone is dressed in like brown or gray sort of suits, and it's like all very like muted and serious. And I was like, it could be academic. And then this blonde in a red dress comes out. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, damn, that's what you wore to the victim impact statement?
She's ready to look good.
My
Yeah.
God. I mean, you were just expecting Ben to be there, weren't you?
I'm not really sure that if you're thinking about like I need James to be in jail for the rest of his life, I don't think you want to make yourself look great,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Um, you
But that
probably
was a
want to look
great
like you're
dress.
just barely put together. Like I'm hanging on by a thread, but I got at least this together for this statement for the court. Like
Yeah.
maybe that's the way to go. Maybe that's the move if your priority was the victim impact statement. But if your priority is maybe Ben's waiting for me after the victim impact
Uh-huh.
statement, you wear your best red dress.
That's right. And she did.
Uh-huh. And then and then she's gonna feign surprise at seeing Ben, and then
Yeah.
Ben is gonna inform her. She's like, "How did the test go?" He's like, "I think they went okay. I didn't actually use those old tests that you bought for me. We'll see how it goes."
Yeah.
And then Avery reinvites him to Southampton.
Yeah. And what I wrote down as my last line here is he has the Felicity smiles for Avery. He's got those
Hmm.
goofy smiles that he usually has while looking at Felicity, but he's not looking at Felicity.
It's interesting.
Hmm.
So there's that. I mean, look, I don't know what you're about to say to this, but Fish, who's the worst? Let's go to the you're the worst segment.
Yeah, I mean there was a wealth of worseness in this. But I stand by my choice. Kris, you're the worst. Figuring out, coming to terms with, and living your truth in a world that may not accept you is hard. But that is not an excuse for a prenuptial fling. Meghan is with Sean most of the time, and trying to kiss her is not okay. It is doubly not okay when you're engaged. I applaud your courage to tell someone that you're in love with them, not knowing how they will respond. But you're engaged. Are you picking up on a theme here? You and your emotions are important, but so are your fiancés, and cheating is cheating. Not to mention poor Sean over here, whose only crime was desperately wanting to show you his documentary, and a minor helping of ignorance and bigotry when it comes to sexuality. But still, focusing on you. You didn't come to watch the documentary. You came to steal his girlfriend. Not cool, Kris. For all these reasons, and because I am now and will forever be Team Sean, minus the ignorance and bigotry. Kris, you are the worst.
Okay. Kris, you're the worst.
And that is the last piece of paper in my second notebook. I have gone through 2 full notebooks taking notes.
My paper is dedicated to Kris being the worst.
Yeah, which I will recycle. We love the earth.
Okay. It's good to know. Thank you for adding that note there. I'm sure we all feel a lot better.
Much better.
Well, Fish, it's time to go to our favorite segment.
Yay!
Segment you're all waiting for. After you listen to this tape, you have to erase it.
Exciting.
That's right. It's your feedback. Your feedback, audience. And here, let's bring in 2 quick comments about End to All a Good Night, episode 11.
I definitely want to hear about that. I'm hoping some people have thoughts on Avery.
I am saving, well, I have one quick comment about Avery, but I'm actually saving a few comments about Avery for next episode. Timing wise, they're better for next episode. But let's open with a simple one that didn't feel too spoilery, from @HeatherM O'Brien_ about And To All a Good Night, the Christmas episode. She says, "No, this marks the start of Avery."
Ah, well, yes. All right. So clearly the Avery hate has already begun.
Yes. Again, I was looking for an Avery comment that wasn't too spoilery to what happens next episode. So that'll, or maybe even the episode after. So that felt like a good way to give, just pace out how we're feeling about Avery.
Sure.
We've got one about Ben from that same episode where, again, I apologize to you if I am mispronouncing your Instagram handle, @Nesca_Teje, who says, "Ben's speech for Barbara always makes my heart melt. He's the sweetest guy on earth."
I mean, it was a good speech. He does several speeches very good. The one to Professor Morton, this one, I mean, I wouldn't say he's being the sweetest guy on earth in this episode.
I will say, I think part of what works with what lands so effectively with the Ben and Barbara speech, maybe more so than any of his other speeches that we've seen, which there haven't been many. But the thing that's really, it's not just what he says to Barbara, which is a little bit rambling. Again, he had a strong opening, a strong close, yes. And then the middle gets a little wonky. But the stakes of that conversation were very, very high for him. The conversation with Professor Morton were pretty low stakes for Ben at the end of the day. But this is Felicity's mom, who is not inclined to like him and is inclined to like Noel, and his potentially validating Felicity's own concerns about Ben. And so Ben actually asking Barbara to sit down for this conversation is the first point of courage, the fact that he's even willing to ask her to have this conversation almost regardless of what he then says. I think that's a point to itself. And then, the fact that he's halfway coherent. He has a strong pitch at parts, and then, he doesn't do damage to himself with the rambling stuff. So that's good. But man, the stakes for this are so high.
Yeah, I agree. It was very courageous and also really mature thing to do. I mean, it's not something that I think many people at that age would have, not just the guts to do, but even think to do that,
Yeah. And I like the fact too that he didn't make it about Barbara bringing a message to Felicity. It wasn't like, can you just next time you talk to her, tell her that you think differently? He wasn't angling for anything in particular. He didn't make a call to action for Barbara. It was just sort of like, I feel like this relationship needs to be repaired.
It's so sad to see that happened and where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. 3 months went by, but
we
didn't get to see those 3 months.
I know. Well, okay, we've got one more, and this is something that I think that we started to address today, but Fish, I want to firmly plant it in our brains because of this comment from @insta.mickey, who says, Felicity never activated Ben's hero complex. She never went to him for help with anything, ever. Not even when she went to the stupid frat party. She could have asked him for a night to talk about her feelings like he sometimes does. Episode 1 next season is another example. I mean, let's not even bring that up. She goes to Noel before going to him. What makes him think she doesn't need him, that she can handle things? Or that makes him think she doesn't need him, that she can handle things. Fish, so @insta.mickey, you continue to wow me with your ability to not spoil for Fish while talking about the thing you want to talk about. You nailed it. We love you, we heart you, and your whole vibe. It doesn't even, like, Fish, you don't even need to know what happens in episode 1. The point is you're seeing, it's another example of what we're seeing right here in this episode. Like Felicity's instinct to go to Noel instead of Ben. And you might also say Felicity goes to a lot of people instead of Ben.
Yeah, I mean, she has a support system, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about how alone Ben has been and how she's been building a support system and really bringing him into it. But I think we also have to remember back to season 1, where the reason she broke up with him was because he didn't want to hear her talk. He didn't want to listen to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean.
But then when they got back together, it's because, well, I think about like the pool break-in, and he's like asking her what's going on with her dad. And she's like, don't really want to talk about it. So he started to be able to change his capacity at some point after Maggie.
Yeah. And I don't think the frat party is probably the best example, given that she may have had some guilt, right, wrapped up into that. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking for, I guess, another good example of where she's having a hard time and she doesn't turn to him. I mean, in this episode, she goes to his door to talk to him. Mm-hmm. And finds another woman there and starts crying. She directly asks him what's going on, starts crying, and leaves. She's clearly not okay. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't go after her. Mm-hmm. And then, he's over hanging out with Avery before and after that. So it's like, yes and no, and maybe I'll see more of it and more good examples, but Felicity wasn't holding something over Avery. She didn't watch Avery die. Like, she didn't go through that kind of, moment. So I would need to see something where she actually needs to reach out to him. She's not on academic probation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wouldn't have made sense for her to go to him when she was going to potentially fail the class because Noel was the TA. They have
Mm-hmm.
kind of set it up in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like the dynamic starts to be solidified, right? When you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, she's going to Noel when she has problems with Ben to get the ego boost. Um, like Ben can't save her from himself. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if she had like an outside thing that was going on, then maybe, you know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe he would, like, she could ask him. I mean, Julie certainly asked him and leaned on him. But I think instead, Mickey makes a good point in that Felicity isn't codependent
Mm-hmm.
on Ben. She's not the same way Julie was. She's
Yeah.
not the way his mother is. And that may be a plus for her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's too far in the other direction. I don't know.
Well, I think it's something good for us to be thinking about at this point in the show forward. So let's keep that in our minds as we talk through future episodes, because I do think like the hero complex from Ben is certainly something that's coming up a lot, and the fact that it's never applied to Felicity, and the question also is like how much does she ask for it to be? So I think it'll be interesting to, and I've never looked at the show through this lens, either of those lenses. So who knows? Who knows what we'll come up with? Very interesting though. I like
Yeah,
the point.
absolutely.
Well, Fish, it's time for us to
Mhm.
rate this episode. And did you want to jump in there?
I can.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
All right. Well, as always, I rate in gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's been really interesting talking to you about this episode, more so than when I was actually watching it. I think the most interesting parts for me when watching it was the Avery stuff. It was the Avery and Ben and Felicity and just sort of like picking out her manipulation. I thought that the stuff with, Meghan and Sean and Kris was really interesting. But this time I knew it wasn't going anywhere because you had told me that last time. So that was in the back of my head. And I said it would be applied to my rating this time,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you're right. It should not have been a one episode story. So that is frustrating. All the stuff with Elena was stupid. It was funny when she kicked Richard in the face, but the whole boob thing is rough. Um, Noel is something. I guess it's going to be interesting, maybe, to see what happens with Noel. But at this point, I'm just kind of sad about him.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel for the guy. He's sort of just a sad sack. I hate to say that as like,
Probably a good place for you to be with him right now.
yeah, it's and he's still married, so hey. Um, so pretty much like I just wasn't that interested in a good part of this. They did have some nice shots, I will say that. But also following everyone around frustrated my notes.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's only gonna get a 5 from me. Yeah.
Fish, would you believe it? I have the exact same rating.
Ah,
That almost never happens.
wow.
This was an easy one for me to rate because I thought the weight of the things I hated about this episode matched the weight of the things I loved about this episode. And so I gave it a 5 out of 10 as like this is straight down the middle.
That's the way I feel. It's like take it or leave it.
But it's not like a meh 5. It's like a very inconsistent feeling about this episode 5.
It's an ambivalent 5.
I have to say, I don't know that I knew it was going to be this high a rating.
Oh.
When I thought about this episode, because I just thought about the Kris stuff and I thought about the Elena stuff, and I was like, man, here we go. And it feels a little bottle episode-y with some of that stuff. The Avery stuff isn't a bottle episode, but some of these major storylines that we're tracking we'll never hear about again. And so, I thought when I was thinking about this episode that I would not like it, or that I would rate it lower. But then I have to say, like, a huge bump, like 10 out of 10 for camera work. So many interesting, like you said, this split screen-ish shot with Felicity overhearing Ben and Avery, even something like that was inventive, but just the choreography of this episode to try to get the moving camera tracking the moving people, and that feeling of everybody has some sort of a relationship here, all those little side one-off lines here and there with characters that you're not even really tracking in that moment. I thought that was a unique way to do this episode, and probably took a lot of work. And I think they pulled it off really well. And when you were talking about the way that the storm tracked throughout the episode too, I thought that was nice. So the stuff that was great was so great. And then there was the stuff we didn't like, which we didn't like the same stuff. And
that hardly ever happens. No, usually that stuff.
Yeah, we're pretty in sync on this one. I think, I guess I unfairly kind of put my thumb on the scale with you by telling you, which was an aggressive move that I chose to make up front, to tell you that we were never going to hear about Kris ever again. But, it really affects me when I watch this, because I want to stand up for for Mandy Foreman. It's like, give her something to do. Oh, this is it? Give her more of that to do. It's like, all right, we did.
Yeah, and also it's an important topic.
Yeah. But I do think that you're right. I think that they weren't equipped to talk about it then, and they weren't sure how it would land with the audience. Maybe it definitely wouldn't have landed right. I don't know. So
they were all gun shy from the haircut. They were like, if we cut her hair and this happened, we better not do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's a 5 out of 10 for me as well. Oh, did I tell you what it is? My rating, my unit of measurement is unwatched documentaries.
Very nice.
There were a lot of choices that I refused to do for rating measurements. I was like, there is no way this is going to have to do with boobs.
Yep.
I was just not in on some of those really easy ones. So unwatched documentaries.
No, I like it. It ran the whole show. It was completely, really not watched the whole show. I like that. So we've got a very strong, ambivalent 5 from you, and a very weak, apathetic 5 from me.
Yep, both 5s, but for different reasons, perhaps, or with different spirit. Yes. Well, listeners, what do you think? Tell us your thoughts. We've talked at length about this episode. What's your feedback? Send it to us. We'd love to hear it at themelissafish@gmail.com. It's Melissa with 1 L, 2 S's, themelissafish@gmail.com. Also, be part of the conversation. All kinds of Felicity fans are talking about this show over on our Instagram at Felicity Podcast. Plus, if you want to know when we drop a new episode of our podcast, we can tell you. Just sign up for our newsletter. So wherever you're listening to this one, check your show notes, and there's a link to sign up for our MailChimp newsletter. And then, of course, while you're there, go ahead and rate and review us, because the more people that do that, the more Felicity fans out there can find this podcast and become part of the community and talk to you even. So that's the plan. Now, Fish, next episode, we are going to talk about the breakup kit. What do you think that episode is about?
Yeah, I actually saw that as the next episode title, but I quickly averted my eyes before reading the summary. I mean, I'm hoping that it has to do with Elena and like Felicity, and maybe even Meghan, create like a little breakup kit to get her out of her funk with Tracy, and it has, I don't know, ice cream and mixtapes and nail polish, and I don't know what you put in a breakup kit. I usually just have a breakup song and I listen to it on repeat like forever. So I'm hoping it's that, and it's not Felicity and Ben breaking up. But that does seem to be the direction things are going with our lovely lady in red. So my hopes are it's Elena getting out of her funk. And you know what really helps people get out of a funk when they're in a breakup?
Ruby's baby.
Yep. I really think that definitely is going to be part of the breakup kit. Will be Ruby bringing her baby and putting it in the breakup kit and then handing it to Elena.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cute. That's cute. Put little air holes in the breakup kit and you're good.
Oh, see, I was thinking like an open bag.
Oh, okay. That's better.
I wasn't actually thinking like a box that you have to put air holes in and a child pops out.
Yeah.
Like one of those puppy carriers.
Yeah. Okay.
But hey, I don't know. You're the one who's seen it. So,
Sure am. I'm telling you it's a box.
All right.
Yeah, all right. It's not a satchel or tote bag. Okay. So, well, that's the prediction of where we're headed. I like it.
Yep.
I like it. Well, anything else you want to say about this one, Fish?
No, I think we've said all the things. I'm surprised we actually talked about it this long, given that we both gave it 5s.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. They packed a lot in. Well, all right. Until next time, Fish. Don't hook up with Ben while I'm gone.
I'm a fish.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.